That's in competitive matches, that seems to be what happens. They always seem to be able to be exposed behind their fullbacks. That seems to happen. So, I mean, I'm going to take Hearts for a win. I'm going to go 2-1.
Wow.
Because of the wee bit of uncertainty still at Hearts managerial situation, I'm going to go 2-1 Rangers.
Yeah, I think the same. I think it's very difficult. Rangers seem to be getting a bit secure in terms of the team, because that's the team he's been playing last few games. Obviously last week Hodgson played instead of Wallace back in today, so he's almost like seeing this as his #1 team. I'm a bit like Jerry. I think that Rangers can win this game. This is the test. I think that I wouldn't be surprised if Hearts won it, but I'm going to tip Rangers to win 2-1, because I think having their full team out today, they'll be looking for a result, and I don't think Hearts are quite the strength that Hibs are.
Yep, okay. You've tipped Rangers to win 2-1 the last 2 weeks.
Yes.
I don't want to put any pressure on you, Gordon.
I'll get it right eventually.
I have to say, for about 8 years with Derek Johnson, he used to say that to me every week. Yeah. But 2-1's the call. You might agree, you might disagree on this one. This is the joy of it all, trying to predict all 6 games. If we do that one week, then we won't be here for next week's show. It's as simple as that. Let's go to Fir Park, Motherwell against Ross County. How do you see this one unfolding, Andrew McLean, and what's the crowd like there?
Well, I think it's going to be a tight affair today. I think it will be a test of 2 defences, really. I think both sides will really be wanting to keep a clean sheet here and maybe nick it by a goal. And I think with the inclusion of Louis Moult back in the starting lineup, I think that Motherwell may just sneak this one. As for the crowd, it's not overly busy. There's not a big travelling support at all from the Ross County fans. It is a long way to come, of course, but I've definitely seen busier stadiums around the country.
Okay, do you agree with him, Gordon Smith?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a tough game. I think Ross County, I thought losing Boyce was going to be really tough for them, but they had a good win at Dundee in the early part of the season. So I think that this game today, Motherwell I thought they did quite well against Rangers, but I've not been impressed with them since in terms of how they've been getting on. So I think today is going to be a score draw.
Jerry?
I'm going to go an away one, because Jimmy, I know Boyce is away. He's replaced him with Mackay. He brought in Draper, spent big money in Draper, which he liked. I know he was after him for a wee while. And I think they've just got more about them. And the thing with Moult not renewing his contract, whether, that'll affect him or not, I just think that Mackay, they've got their 3 points on the board. Pressure's on Motherwell to get their first points on the board. So I'm going to go for an away win.
It's a score draw for me. I just think there's just Motherwell missed it enough to scrape something out of it. But I agree, Ross County made a good start to the season. But yeah, score draw.
Okay, here's a look at the fixtures for you in the Premiership, and we'll get the thoughts of the guys on St Johnstone Partick as well. But as you can see there, Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 2. That match, the early kick-off today, goals from James Forrest and Callum McGregor. Secure all 3 points for Celtic. It's a 100% start in the Premiership for Brendan Rodgers' side, and they head to Kazakhstan for Tuesday's match against Astana with a 5-goal lead from the first leg. That's the Premiership. Here's what's on offer in the Championship this afternoon. Dundee United against Brecon City, Dunfermline Falkirk, Inverness against Morton, Livingston St Mirren and Queen of the South against Dumbarton. And in League 1, Albion Rovers, Airdrie, Alloa Queen's Park are both against East Fife, Wraith Rovers, Forfar and Stranraer against Ayr United. And in League 2, it's Berwick Rangers, Annan, Elgin City, Clyde, Montrose, Cowdenbeath, Stenhousemuir, Peterhead and Stirling Albion against Edinburgh City. And the Premier League in England will be casting an eye over that across the afternoon as well. Swansea City 0, Manchester United 4. That's confirmation of that win for United, the early kick-off there. And I can tell you, Bailly, Lukaku, Pogba and Martial were the goal scorers. It's Bournemouth, Watford, Burnley, West Brom, Leicester City, Brighton, Liverpool, Crystal Palace, Southampton against West Ham, with Stoke City, Arsenal, the 5:30 kick-off. And as you can see there, Huddersfield, Newcastle, Tottenham, Chelsea and Manchester City against Everton takes place on the Monday. So That's what we have on offer. Just touching on St Johnstone against Partick Thistle, Alan Archibald, I don't think wanted to comment too much on him being linked with the Hearts job. He's got a job to do with a Partick Thistle side that I've watched on a couple of occasions since the start of the season. Hugh, I like the way they play football.
Yeah, I watched them a lot last season as well, Peter, and I liked the fact that they go into the top 6. I liked... I think over the years where Archie's been let down at Thistle, and I think it's, I mean, Jerry alluded to it earlier, is the fact that, you know, Dundee had 41 or 42 goals and they lost that, and where Archie said his problem was finding a regular goal scorer. I know he's got Chris Doolan, who's done very well. Chris can be injured, and he can go off the boil. So I think the big problem with Thistle has been maybe capitalising their good play by scoring goals. They've done it a wee bit better at the end of last season. This season, I expect Thistle to go up there and do quite well today, because St Johnstone all have had a great start of the season. They don't necessarily, enjoy playing at home as much. I think it'll be a more than decent game. I'm seeing that as a score draw.
I'm going to go. I think there'll be goals in this game, and it's good to see the boy Bannigan back for Archie. Last year, deservedly got himself in the top 6. Thoroughly deserved that. I feel, although Partick's beat them this season already out there,
Yeah, League Cup.
Yeah, 3-0. I think I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw here, Pierre.
Okay, go on.
It's interesting you're saying Partick already have won this season in Perth, and last season, the 4 games between the two teams, the away team won both games in either stadium, so that nobody can win at home. So you think this it'd be daft to suggest St Johnstone can win this game, but I'm going to tip them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's not worry about being daft on this show, to be perfectly honest. This is a prerequisite. I can tell you it's Albion Rovers 0, Airdrieonians 1 already. Arbroath 0, East Fife 1, and Leicester off and running in the Premier League in England. They are a goal up on Brighton. Okazaki has scored that goal. The reason I mention that is because still at this moment, the last person to score for Brighton in the top flight in English football is alongside me, and I know you're saying to yourself, wow, Hugh McDonald, when did he score for them? But no, Gordon, you're still the last man.
I know, that's what I did say when they told me that. I said, well, obviously that won't last too long now into obviously the second game now. I'm still there, so somebody's going to take my record eventually, but it's amazing. I thought that they played quite well against City last week, but City were just too strong for them. But I think Brighton eventually will come back and get wins. It was interesting you were saying already that Albion Rovers are losing to Airdrie. That was the same scenario. I noticed that when I looked at last season's score lines, Albion Rovers Airdrie is the same scenario. Airdrie won both games away, and Albion Rovers won both their games at Airdrie. So it's amazing that happens in Scottish football. I've looked down at quite a lot of the results, and the number of times you see a certain two teams playing each other and the home team cannot win in any of the games. It's quite amazing that. So it just shows you that a lot of teams are more comfortable playing away from home.
Yeah, I don't know if you know, Jerry and I know this. You know there are nightclubs where you can go out and enjoy yourself instead of just constantly looking at scores.
Nightclubs? What's that? I've never been in one.
just thought I'd say there's more to life, Jerry. That's what I'm saying. I only went
Definitely.
As if he's never seen the inside of a nightclub. You should regale us with some of the stories of your early days at Brighton, because there was more than a few characters in that team.
Well, absolutely, and as I've said it before, my teammates used to laugh when I went down there. They say, "Are you really Scottish?" I didn't golf, I didn't drink, and I didn't gamble. So they thought I wasn't really a Scotsman, but they got me into all three eventually. But there was the drinking culture was very strong. I was amazed at it. I heard it. Fergie, we talked about that. Alex Ferguson talked about that the other night, about the drinking culture at Manchester United. It wasn't just at our club, it was in English football in general. It was quite amazing, the culture.
I thought Fergie was very clever with the drinking culture as well, because there was 3 guys who were the leaders of the club, and he kept the best one.
Yes.
He kept Ryan Robson, and he got rid of Whiteside
and McGrath.
And Moran was it?
Moran was
Can I ask you this though? I mean, I'm going to cut someone a bit of slack here. Robson, the general feeling was that he was a fantastic trainer. So if he had the excess at one end, he still stepped up to the plate. But McGrath was a special player who defied all the science that we now put into football. I mean, if you had you know, the thing that they wear now, the GPS on the back, and put it on McGrath, you'd think you can't play, but he defied all that. He was a fantastic player.
And I mean, apart from, you know, his well publicising his autobiography, I mean, the drinking he did, but his knees were shot for so long. I mean, he was like, he's one of these guys, like, you know, in later years, Ledley King at Tottenham, who managed to make himself a player, even though his knees were shot, you know.
Well, I was out one night with a few players. I was down there playing for City, and there was Brian Robson was there, and I was sitting beside him, and I was amazed at how much he drank during the night, right? And he was unbelievable. And the great line, he said he'd just been back from Holland. The club had sent him over there to see some specialists because he had a problem with his knee, and he said to me that the specialist said to him, "You got to give up your drinking." And I said, what are you going to do then? He goes, "Obviously I'm going to have this knee injury all my career." What's
more important?
Oh, so he's a smarter man than I first gave him credit for.
Get your priorities right.
Quite happy with that, Gordon. Good story, good tale. OK, this afternoon, if there's a goal anywhere, especially in the Premiership, we'll keep you up to date with it. Dunfermline 1, Falkirk 0. Declan McManus, Jerry McCabe, has scored for the Pars against the Bairns.
Well, I've been involved in those games. Great games, massive games, Dunfermline Falkirk. I didn't realise how big the rivalry was till I went there.
It's almost like a derby, right?
Oh, it's unbelievable. Probably you'll give it 12,000, 10,000, 12,000 these games.
Yeah.
And it's Dunfermline did a great start to the season. I tipped Falkirk because Husty, you know, he's kept most of his players and he's added a couple. But see, these games, it doesn't go to form. It certainly doesn't. But as I say, you'll never get a better atmosphere, and especially in the Championship.
Falkirk need to start picking up, don't they? I mean, we all thought they're going to be one of the teams that's going to be top challenging.
I thought so.
They've got 1 point from the first 2 games, and then if they lose today, you know, because Dunfermline, I think you've said it yourself. You think Dunfermline will be up there challenging?
I fancied Dunfermline. I watched them. I watched them in telly. I didn't go to the game, but I watched them as live in the telly playing against Hearts. I like Johnson as a manager. I think he's got a bit about him, and I liked. See, when I was looking at their team, I said, this is really interesting because they've got really good players in the team. Higginbotham and Cardle, they're older players.
Yeah.
They're good players.
Michael Payton,
strong player. And then you're saying they've got a good sprinkling of youngsters here. And I thought, I mean, I'm not saying they're going to win the championship, but if somebody said to me, you know, without the favourite, who are you going to back without the favourite? I'd be putting Dunfermline in there because I just like to look at it, the way they play. They really played Hearts well that day as well. You know, see this thing that, you know, they got lucky against Hearts, or, you know, Cathro was unlucky to lose that game. Alan Johnson did a job on them that day. They really did.
Deserved it.
He really deserved it. And how Hearts got back into the game, which is a fair way to get in the game, don't get me wrong, was just hitting long balls, and that's how they got back in. They didn't get back in by, as it were, outplaying them or outpassing Dunfermline. So I'm not too shocked about that result today.
Yeah, I don't want to portray in any way, Gordon Smith, the role of the Panto villain. But today, you just every time you say something, Gordon, you remind me of an old working mate of mine who I used to work with on radio, Hugh Keevans. And the reason you remind me of him is he said, if they lose today, if they should lose today, and then they lose tomorrow, and then if they lose the next 35 games, they're in trouble. Hugh had this fantastic way of looking at it as a doomsday scenario before it had even happened. We're only 2 games into it. I think Husty, you know, you're talking about Peter Huston. I thought he was an ideal candidate for the Hearts job, Jerry.
Yeah, I thought he'd been a big favourite as well. Husty's been around, he's been around the block, you know, and he's still doing a great job. Like Jim Duffy at Morton, you know, as I say, they've coached and managed at the highest level. Again, as I was saying, with Falkirk, you're right, we're what, 2 games in, 3 games in, but this one, the Dunfermline and Falkirk, it's just a psychological thing as well, and it's a bragging rights. And Dunfermline, you've got to remember, Dunfermline's a big club with big history as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, some fantastic players in their day. Livingston 0, St Mirren 1, a score from the Championship. Gordon, I still think Dundee United will be too strong as the season progresses. I think he's put together a squad of, you know, talented players. Experienced ones, McDonald. We've talked about McMullen from time to time. He's been shunted from pillar to post, but I think finally settling in some club might be a bonus.
I think you're right. I think they would need to be considered the favourites for the league this year. I'm not quite sure they'll do it as comfortably as in previous years. we've had like Hearts, then Rangers, then Hibs in the last 3 years. And if you take it that's probably the biggest club in that division, won it each time it happened. But I think this year Dundee United are the biggest team of the teams that are in the Championship. So I believe with the signings he's made, the players he's bringing in, he lost like some Murray to Hibs, which was a bit of a blow to him. But they've got in like somebody like Scott McDonald who is mature at that level. So I think that Dundee United, I would agree with you, they're my favourites to win the league. But I don't think it'll be as clear cut as previous seasons.
Craig Halkett scored the own goal that put St Mirren in the lead there against Livingston. Jack Ross's side, another team that everybody seems to be mentioning, including the Saints boss, suggesting that they're going to be in the mix at the end of the season. Promotion is what's on the cards for them. Well, we shall see. There's lots of things that I'd like to get your thoughts on, guys, that have been happening over the course of the last 24 hours or so, and we'll chat about that. You can interact with us at Peter and Ruffy on Twitter and Facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy as well. Give us your thoughts on anything that's bugging you about your club. You might agree or disagree with our selection for champions in each division. If you have joined us at the moment, I can tell you it's Southampton 1 and West Ham 0. That's Gabbiadini who's got the goal there. And the reason I'm pointing that out that Southampton is, against West Ham is because West Ham have been linked with a move for Moussa Dembele that's come out in a French newspaper today, Hugh. So clearly, as you start to get ever closer to this window, some of these clubs are going to make moves, and there might be an inflated price that is just too tempting for Celtic.
Yeah, the great thing Celtic have got is that Celtic almost certainly are going to be in the Champions League. So that's 30 million they can bank. They can turn round to Dembele and say to him, you know, if a West Ham or a Southampton come in from and say, listen, we think you're better than that, and I know you and your advisors think you're better than that. Why not stay with us another year? And if a top 4 or top 6 side come in for you next summer, we'll let you go then. I think that'll be the strategy on behalf of Celtic. And I think it's really the strategy on behalf of his advisors. His advisors, like everybody else, will change when, you know, might change their tune when the dole gets piled up on the table. But the whole reason for coming to Celtic was to build his profile up so that he'd become a top 6 team in England. Well,
the French newspaper suggesting that, if anything, the player favours Monaco. I mean, why would you move to Monte Carlo over Glasgow? I mean, there's just no choice, Jerry. I mean, you know what I mean? The only thing is if you've got a convertible, you get to put the roof down. Other than that, nothing.
You're tax-free.
Another thing, okay. Apart from that, what have the Romans ever done for us?
And you can be able to buy a boat or something like that.
Yeah, okay.
In Monaco.
You got Hugginfield Law here. I mean, you can rent one.
A pedal boat. A big difference.
By the way, I feel as if this list could grow all the way through till 6 o'clock.
I'd be surprised at Monaco for him, though, because from what you hear, if you talk to his agents and all that, they're really wanting... I think if he went to Monaco as well, he'd be looking to go further as well. His agents have got a real plan for him. They really, they really rate him. Why not? He's been voted the best under-21 player last season in France. He did well in the Champions League for Celtic. But they see him as being a top team.
Aberdeen have opened the scoring against Dundee. Stevie May gets his first goal wearing the red number 83 in commemoration of the Dons' great Cup Winners' Cup side. And Dunfermline are 2-0 up in Falkirk now, so that's a great start for the Pars. Joe Cardle scoring the goal there. But Stevie May, that will be a major confidence boost, Gordon.
Definitely. I mean, that also turns out, it looks like, a good signing as well. He is a goal scorer, and to get off the mark in this sort of game, I think I never had any sort of other feeling about it other than Aberdeen were going to win this game today. I can't see Dundee getting anything. They've started the season pretty badly anyway, Dundee, with 2 defeats, but I couldn't see them going to Pittodrie and getting anything from the game. I don't know if you were there, Jerry, but last season Aberdeen beat Dundee comfortably, didn't they?
7-0.
7-0 in one of the games at Dens Park, didn't they?
Before that, Gordon, obviously we've had a lot of hard games with Dundee, with Aberdeen. When Aberdeen came to Dens Park, they won with the odd goal. They scored in the last minute. They drew against us. We beat them in the cup. We went up there. We were 3-1 up against them. The best chance ever we had to beat them. But they got a penalty kick about 5 minutes to go in, and they scored in the last minute. Albeit it was offside, but it wasn't given. Yeah. But when they click, and they came down to Dens Park last year and they beat us 7-0. And we got off lightly, 7-0. And Paul and myself were looking at ourselves, you know, and that's when maybe 7 minutes gone, you're saying blow the whistle. Because they were that good that night. They just, wasn't we were bad, it just we couldn't get in the game, we couldn't get near them. As I say, when they click, they click. And the boy May, Derek's known him for a long time, when he had him at St Johnstone, we tried to sign him in January. We thought we had him coming up from England. And I said, what a great signing would be. A boy that runs in behind, strong, scores goals. Paul had him at Alloa. Paul took him in loan at Alloa and knew him very well. And we're so disappointed we didn't get him. But I think he's a great signing for Aberdeen.
Yeah, and good to know, Jerry, you've let that offside goal go now. You've let it go to the back of your mind.
I haven't really, Peter. I haven't.
That's what I love.
Livingston equalised against St Mirren, Peter.
Well, and I tell you right now, Craig Halkett certainly makes himself scores for St Mirren, scores for his own team as well, Gordon.
Yeah, that's one each there now.
Airdrieonians are 2-1 up on Albion Rovers, so that game has flipped. Arbroath 1, East Fife 1, Stranraer 1, Ayr 0. That's you up to date on the goals as they hit the back of the net in Scotland. I can tell you Ryan Wallace got that goal for Stranraer. The other point I was going to make to you is it's been a great day for Manchester United down south. That match was the early kick-off. It finished Swansea 0, Manchester United 4. I mean, apart from the fact they don't have an out-and-out superstar in their side, they look as if they're a team clicking at the moment, Hugh. I
think they will have it at the end of the season. I think Pogba is going to come through this season. I think we're awful quick as pundits. I don't know if Jerry and Gordon will agree with me. We're awful quick in pundits and saying, making decisions on a player in his first season at a club, when everybody takes time to settle. Everybody, you know, it's a big upheaval for the lad, etc. I really rate him as a player. I think I watched him very closely at Juventus. I thought he had everything in his locker, and I think he could be the guy that could. I'm still tempted to go for Manchester City, but he could be really strong for them today. The 4 goal scorers a day must be, I wonder if this would be a trivia question, the highest paid, the highest transfer fees for scoring in games. Bailly, Lukaku, Pogba, and who's the fourth?
Martial.
Good player.
He's another one, you know, when he came you thought, what a player he's going to be, but last year I think he was very disappointing. For me, the main signing, I know they've signed Lukaku, goal scorer, proven goal scorer. The boy Matic, forgetting from Chelsea. Tremendous. What a difference that one player can make in the middle of the park. Yeah. I'm not a lover of Mourinho's teams because I think all the flair players he's had, for some reason they don't get off the leash. Maybe he says this year, look, I've got the quality. I've got someone Matic can sit there, go and express yourself.
He's attacking Chelsea.
Yeah, I was the same. I thought it was
a real shock because you know that's obviously going to be one of their rivals.
And I think that's made them weaker.
Absolutely, definitely, it made them weaker, made United stronger. And I didn't think the fee was outrageous. I know it's still huge from the point of view of transfer fees, but it wasn't like the kind of money you would think somebody that important would cost.
It's half a Pogba.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Ryan Tierney's got the second goal of the afternoon for himself and Airdrie in that match against Albion Rovers. Just in case you missed the score from earlier on at Rugby Park, it was Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 2. Much changed Celtic side, but the same result, Hugh McDonald.
Yeah, and the thing about what Brendan Rodgers has got now, he's got complete and utter faith in what we call his second 11. The first time I really noticed him doing it was a game at Ross County, a midweek game where they went up there and they won 4-0. And they had quite a hard night that night, but they came through, and that was like he was just saying. I remember Ryan Christie played, McGregor played that day, Liam Henderson played as well, and he just said to them, "Listen, you know, I'm entrusting you." And I think it's very interesting the way that one or two, as we talked earlier, like Ralston. He's got his eye on him for being a future Celtic player. Any chance he's got to pick him, he's picking him.
Yeah.
So I mean that strength and depth is just bad news from every other team in the division. Particularly as Patrick Roberts is back and he's talking about signing our 2 players on top of this.
Yeah, the other point I was going to make to you guys, Brendan Rodgers mentioned something yesterday at the press conference which I think was interesting. You know, right across UK football, he said when Arsene Wenger goes, that will be the last, he reckons, of the longevity managers, the managers that a board sticks by. Will move into a completely different era. Do you understand that, Jerry?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think you're going to have that loyalty to clubs. Players aren't loyal. So managers will move on, and if there's success at one club, I mean, I think if someone like Barcelona had come in maybe a couple of seasons, whether they would have been able to prize Arsene Wenger away from Arsenal, I don't know. But a lot of managers would have went. But I think the longest you'll get now, maybe 3-4 years. There may be one or maybe an exception, but as it says, I think Brendan's right. Once Arsene Wenger goes, I think you'll not see managers staying at clubs 10, 12, 15 years.
There was two student. One that was Alex Ferguson was the same, long term at Man United, and then obviously Arsene Wenger. But you're absolutely, I think the same. I don't think managers will stay because they'll be tempted away other places as well. And I think what happens with football management, they know sometimes the longer you're at a club, the tougher it becomes. So you better when your stock's high, you move on, you go somewhere else.
I think there's another thing as well. I think slowly but surely the European model of director of football will come in. Mean managers are much more expendable as well. You've already got, nobody really comments on it. They say, oh, it's a European system, director of football, but it ain't. I mean, well, essentially, Chelsea's got one at the moment. Tottenham have got one. Liverpool have got one. Arsenal's got one, but it doesn't really matter because Wenger's still running the show. And I think what managers will be, they'll just be slotted in as line managers. I mean, so that never works. But look at Watford. Watford have a manager for every day of the week. And they stay in that division.
Well, what they do in the continent, when I went to play in Austria and Switzerland, they had the manager was the guy that ran everything, and the other guy was called the trainer. But which is we say the coach, just the coach. He's not the manager anymore. The manager is the main person at the top, and that's why the trainer guy who was the coach had a short term to try and do their job, and if it wasn't working out, they moved on. But basically the structure stayed the same.
Did they ever say in the players the coach wasn't the manager?
They did, and I actually always thought that was wrong.
Right.
And I thought that the manager should, the coach. The guy who runs the team should have a say in the players, but that wasn't the case abroad.
He's the guy's working with them.
He just got given the players, and he had to. It was his job to do his best with them, and I don't think that's right. I think the manager, or what we would say in that respect, the coach should have a say
in the players.
But it's moving more towards. I mean, I was reading Ancelotti's book, and Ancelotti basically, certainly at Real Madrid, but even at PSG and other places, Bayern, he was just told that's your team, and if you say, well, I need a midfielder, we'll get you Sanchez for Benfica. Well, I'm not that sure. No, that's the one we won.
I think managers now, you look at Pep when he left Barcelona, took 2 years out, whatever he says. 5 years at Barcelona, the pressure is unbelievable. To win the Champions League, win the La Liga. Luis Enrique went in 3 years, he lasted. I think managers are having a say now, saying, wait a minute, for their health reasons and everything that goes round about it, because obviously they know they're working within it, that the pressure's above constant success.
And they've got as well, Jerry, something that the old managers like Jock Stein and Jim McLean and Willie Waddle and others didn't. They had to work. They might have had a nicer house than you and I. They might have had a nicer car than you and I. But they had to work. These guys are now earning £8-9 million a year. They could take a couple of years. They could stop working full stop. You couldn't do. I mean, you couldn't say John Stein couldn't when he left Celtic. Couldn't say, well, that's me finished.
No.
You had to go and get a job.
Well, with all due respect, I mean that's basically what we've been faced with today with Ruffy. He just had to take a Saturday off. It's as simple as that. The pressures of actually giving his opinion has been incredible.
I think it's because of contract talks. I noticed that Virgil van Dijk's injured today for Southampton. Contract talks. Coutinho's got a bad contract, and I'm thinking Ruffy's is there a big sit down coming next week with STV?
Well, it's simple as that. I mean, every time he's in front of the camera, I'm just thinking Diego Costa. He's going to be on a beach somewhere and just not playing ball with
us. He might be tapped up, Peter. You never know. He might be sitting in some bar in Glasgow now.
Maybe on Al Jazeera at this moment. Given the big Premiership verdict for Al Jazeera.
I have to tell you, we'd miss him on the programme. We'd miss that cutting insight that he has, and of course, so many wives and housewives and girls around the country would miss him. He's just an absolute delight. It's very rare you get someone who sticks with the same hairstyle for 50 years, but he's decided he's not losing the mullet, it's staying there.
It was cut at one time, but was it not?
It was cut. A good point, Jerry McKay.
78 World Cup.
It was 1978. It was curly, and I must get that photograph up to show you of his 1978 haircut. Not for the haircut. Just, I don't know if our producer has got access to it. It's not for the haircut. It's for his eyebrows. I mean, they are absolutely. You could honestly, starlings would have been nesting in them.
See, there's one point in Luxembourg, right? Pedro Caixinha was standing in Ruffy's hair, pointing at his fans.
That's right, I remember that. I'll tell you, what's the big surprise, Gordon, is tight match, Ibrox, no goals.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tight one. Obviously, Hearts must be doing okay because Rangers will be desperate to do something today. Get themselves ahead in this game. I mean, last week it was a very early goal against Hibs, and you thought, well, there you go, that's a great start, but it didn't quite work out. So it might be a tighter game today. It'll be interesting to see what the report is from Des.
Yep, Jamie Brandon, the first player to go into the book. He's yellow carded for Hearts, but other than that, it's really been a case of, you know, lots of crosses in there, Hearts able to clear them, or just that poor delivery at the end, can't get anybody on the end of it. But I can tell you, John Souttar has just had he's had a 40-yarder off the bar. You know, John Souttar's one of those players that so many people are raving about him, Hugh. I was waiting to see what all the hullabaloo was about. I hope now I can start to see a young player emerge that we may look at for future Scotland caps.
Yeah, I'd like to see him come through as well for obvious reasons, but I mean, he had that really bad injury. He also plays in a style as well where he's obviously been advised and coached and brought up in that way to play the ball out from the back and to be kind of relaxed about possession. So I was coached by the old Johnny who would have a heart attack if you were doing that. And I think to play like that for a young guy, John Stone's to a same, you know, a different level, of course, a different price tag. I think he's paying the price for that at Man City, you know, where he's expected to do all that. Yeah. And see when it doesn't come off, and it only takes one pass out of 50. You can do 49.
Cost you again.
No, it's interesting what you're saying, Hugh. When I went to St Mirren and we were bringing in kids to check them. See what you were getting told there by that coach. So many players, young players, were getting ruined. Defenders by just somebody saying to them, "Don't try and clever, just knock it out of the park." So what happened was that we were having trials and see all the boys we were bringing in that were centre halves playing for the teams. None of them were good enough. They had no football ability because they'd been taught not to. So what I started to have to do was turn midfield players into centre halves. So I took the bigger ones and said, right, you're going to play at the back now, because they'd at least had a career of an upbringing of being able to play passes and get on the ball.
Which is probably why Brendan Rodgers mentioned that he had no qualms about putting, you know, near Beaton into the centre half.
Spot on. I said to people at the time when it happened, I said, if MD can play a centre half, it will be a midfield guy who's a sitting midfield player like Beaton is. He would fit in easily to centre back. I said that at the time because I didn't think he was going to be a problem. I couldn't understand why people were saying, "Oh, that's a bad move."
Yeah.
A guy like that could fit easily into his back four.
Who are these people? We want names. I mean,
plus he's a bonus for Beaton. You know, he's got the height as well.
Yeah,
so
that's what I'm saying.
He's not bad in the air.
Physically,
good on the ground.
He can challenge. He's good on the ground. He can pass a ball. And nowadays, in football in general, at the highest level, you need people at the back who can pass. But see, Hugh, you were unlucky, Hugh, that you were getting advice from people telling you not to do that.
If only that was what stopped me becoming a football player.
The Janels have got the answer for that.
It could have been a big factor.
Well, that and a distinct lack of talent. That would have been the two factors, I think.
There's a couple of things that I've written down.
I don't think we ever had centre halves or a goalkeeper. I think we just Tora. We just attacked.
Well, I was about to say, Jerry, I don't think you've ever passed to a centre half in your life. That would involve looking behind you, which is not what you did. You were a joy going forward. I can tell you Arbroath won East 5-2. Nathan Flanagan scoring the goal there. There's not a lot of goals in the Premiership in Scotland at the moment. Only that Stevie May strike is the highlight so far. The game that finished obviously at Rugby Park, it was Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 2. Forrest and McGregor scoring the goals for Brendan Rodgers' side, and Brendan Rodgers once again paying tribute to young Anthony Ralston, saying, you know, he's a man. Coming into the back line there in that much changed Celtic side with the same outcome, a win for Celtic before they think about Astana. Also, I was mentioning to you, Jerry, Have a look at Ruffy. I mean, this is Ruffy in 1978. This photograph is, look at those eyebrows. I mean, that is absolutely incredible.
That's Ruffy's hair and Dennis Healy.
Yes, that's exactly what
I don't know
it
whose face it is.
It's
real eyebrows, you think?
They're incredible. And of course, the other great thing is he manages to connect them all. It's just one big giant eyebrow there, as you can see. But, and of course, the hair was trendy at the time. But then once that fad finishes, you think, I'm going back to my.
That's what I did.
Chris Waddle, Glenn Waddle.
Once that fad finished, that's why I went with this style. You know, I just said it was too high maintenance. But that face of Ruffy, I mean, you never tire of just giving that a good smack, would you? You really wouldn't.
Well, I'll tell you right now, not from a cross ball because he never came out for them anyway.
Did you hear him yesterday about coming out for cross balls? You think he was Pat Jennings reincarnated?
Yeah. Stennismuir 1, Peterhead 1 in League 2. We did mention there it was Swansea 0, Manchester United 4. Just one other little point, Gordon. Johnny Evans, it looks as if Man City, if they're looking for a centre-half, might need to stump up £25 million for him. But, you know, clearly Pep Guardiola realises it can't all be footballers at the back. You need a wee bit of both. Johnny Evans isn't. I mean, is he good enough for Man City on a regular basis?
I'm not sure if he would be, but I think possibly if he played with better players around about him, he'd be even better. But you know, the funny thing about it is it's very hard to find really good quality centre backs nowadays. That's why I think there's so many goals at the highest level, because the level of strikers in this era is above the level of centre backs, and you're seeing. That's why we're getting a lot of goals in major games in England and in Europe and all that sort of thing. And I think Man City have gone out there and they've gone, we need to bring in somebody who is basically going to be a squad player, but that we know he can handle it if we put him in, because he has been a league winner. He's won the league at Manchester United, so he's somebody who's played at the highest level. So that's why they can at least have that level of confidence that he knows what it's like to play in a league-winning team. Yeah,
Vasil El Baktui has just crashed one off the bar with his head. That could have been the equaliser for Dundee up there at Pittodrie. How good is he, Jerry?
Great talent, great ability. He could go and win you a game, but he could also be a wee bit of a passenger. But he's learning the game. He's come in. We had him at Dunfermline, brought him in at Dunfermline, and he had all the talent. He actually had never played 11-a-side football. Played beach football when he first came in.
Is that right?
Didn't know the language. And fair play to the boy. He went and he worked. He learned the English. A lovely boy, very enthusiastic boy. Wants to just play football. As I say, great touch on the ball, great strike of the ball. Sometimes I feel he's got to see the bigger picture in the pitch, and Paul spoke to him about, you're up a couple of levels now from Dunfermline up to Dundee. You've got to see, you got players running off the ball. He's got to see these things, because there's the amount of times that players are in better positions, but he just wants to have this strike, because he's a great striker of the ball. But he'll get better, and I've got a lot of time for the boy. I really hope he does well at Dundee.
Yeah, and of course, if you are someone who hasn't played a lot of 11-a-sides, and then suddenly you're thrust into this, you have to go through a greater learning curve. But the one thing I would say, skill. He's got that in abundance.
Oh, yeah. Just a bit like yourself, Peter. I mean, you're just like, the maestro of the fives, isn't he, Jerry? So, and when he goes up a level to the 11s, he maybe finds it hard to find another player on the park or to pass the ball and things like that.
And I'll say Peter's got probably just as good a strike as Baktui. When he catches a ball, I'm talking the 5-a-side pitch. That's only a 5-yard.
See, when you brought him in, Jerry, when you brought him in, though, what way did you decide? Did you try him in different positions to try and determine what his best position was if he hadn't been playing 11-a-side? Yeah,
it was Jim Jeffries brought him in, and he actually played for the 20s. He never really got near the first team, if you remember. And but you could see he had this talent. He was one of these boys as well. We had to put the arm round, and it was difficult for the boy coming over here on his own, coming over at a young age, coming into a club like Dunfermline. The football, the physical side as well. But as I say, when he came, he scored a few goals for us last year. But you could see he had to learn the game and improve. And one thing about him, he's got that enthusiasm about him. He wants to be better.
Yeah, Elgin 0, Clyde 2. Stewart scored the goal there. I can tell you it's St Johnstone 1, Partick Thistle 0. I wonder if you can tell me, Gordon Smith, who scored for St Johnstone?
For St Johnstone? I think O'Halloran.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't even know why you had to think of it. I mean, if anything, it just flies.
I thought of McLean to start with. I was thinking McLean because he gets a few goals, but O'Halloran's in some run, isn't he?
But Gordon, honestly. I mean, it just defies belief. Here's a boy who's on still 3 years to go at Rangers. Mark Warburton bought him, said he didn't really know what whether he fitted into the system or not.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden shunted to the 20s. No communication as far as, where you have to turn up, who you're playing for. Suddenly he just wasn't the one they were looking for.
I think
Peter,
he's got tremendous, I would say, motivation to do well now, to actually sicken Rangers and to say, you didn't know what you're missing here. I think if it happened to me, what happened to him, that would have been a tremendous motivating factor. I'll say, I'll show you.
See, like if you were doing a bookies line now, just look at everybody, for first goal scorer or goal scorer to score at any time. Do everybody that's left Rangers in the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, that's right.
Halloran, Mackay, Waghorn,
that's right.
and Gardner cannot stop scoring for it. So Chang's up at already 7 or 8 for the season.
Yeah, I was delighted when he left St Johnstone, because he used to torture us, and he was a one player you're saying, he would decide the game of the day, and he used to, and Kevin Holt, we brought in Kevin, I think, is a right good left back, and got pace and that, but he used to get the hardest time ever playing against the Harlan.
Yeah, I'm looking here, Bruno Alves has just had a header cleared off the line, so that was another close call for Rangers in that match. No way through at the moment, still 0-0 against Hearts, and I can tell you Martin Waghorn has just scored for Ipswich.
Oh, it's to the Yankee already, isn't it?
It's getting ridiculous, and I mean, another thing about it, I've got to tell you, Gordon, quite simply, you know better than most. Some players have a motivation. If any player needs to be motivated to play football, it's such a charmed life, honestly. If you work hard, you can reap the rewards of it. But sometimes, and I'm going to cut some slack here, some players don't get on with managers, it doesn't work. Some other managers can see what works best for you. Tommy Wright knows Michael O'Halloran. Yes,
absolutely. And as I say, Waghorn's going down south, the same thing. You got a manager there who's got belief in him. I mean, Mick McCarthy made it very clear as well. I know Mick, I played a teammate of mine at Man City, and I could always phone him and find out, but he said, no way we paid £1 million. You know what I mean? It was like well below that. So Rangers were trying to put it as £1 million. But as I say, Tommy Wright knows O'Halloran. He was probably disappointed. I think he was disappointed, but he didn't want to hold the boy back when he went to Rangers. But he never really got a chance there. And as I say, come back now. That's 4 goals in 3 games now, isn't it?
Yeah. And I can tell you, Rangers have had a goal chalked off offside. Alfredo Morelos has just looked towards the referee. He's not happy about it, and it's been chalked off. I can tell you in the Premier League, it's Lee Wallace actually. Just I'm looking here at the replay of it. Lee Wallace down the left hand side, just crossing that in there, and Morelos. I mean, really. It's just looking here, and I think the replay shows that Wallace is offside. There'll be some debate about it, but that might lift Rangers. It might, on the other hand, just stimulate Hearts to try and make sure they keep it tighter at the back. It's all to play for. It's still 0-0 at Ibrox. It's Southampton 2, West Ham 0. Marko Arnautovic has been sent off for the Hammers, and Tadic has scored the second goal for Saints from the penalty spot. And I would suggest to you, when you're thinking about managers who will be under pressure, they always like to put the bookies' odds up on it. Slaven Bilic could be there as well. We were talking about it last season, and he just started to get a wee run of games, Hugh.
He did, and they've got a big stadium there to fill as well. Not the most tolerant of crowds either at West Ham, and they gave him money to spend in the transfer window. He bought Chicharito, and he's got Arnautovic 25 for him. So they've backed him. But that means nothing, as you know. Backed them in the summer by Christmas. Yes, I would say he was. I would say he was one of the managers under intense pressure, because, in a bookie sense, you can't see Brighton, for example, sacking Houghton quickly, because they'll be realistic. Huddersfield, I've got Wagner, who's started like a train. I mean, that was some result for them last week, and I think they're going to buy into Wagner's German way of doing things, the way of playing, the culture of playing and that. So the teams that you expect to be down at the bottom of the league seem to have an affinity with their managers. Burnley, for example, I know Burnley won well last week, but Burnley with Sean Dyche in that. So yeah, I think Bilic would be a decent bookie's favourite for that slot.
A succession of corners for Hibernian, but still no way through against Hamilton Accies. It's sometimes just a relentless, and you've got to bide your time, as Celtic proved against Astana. Hibernian have got players who can actually do something out of the ordinary, Gordon.
Yeah, that's what they've got. They've got that type of player that can turn a game. Look at McGinn in midfield, obviously, who can make things happen. They've got people up front now. You know, Murray, as I say, it's quite a shock he hasn't scored, because as Hugh was talking about earlier on, if you were to pick out somebody for a first goal scorer, you'd probably go for him at the moment. Simon Murray, the form he's in, I think he's got about 9 or 10 goals already this season. Yeah. So, but I mean, Hamilton. The thing about them is they are well organised. They do get a lot of credit for it, because we all do tip them to get down, and it's mainly just because of their resources. But Martin Carney's done a good job with them, and as I say, the first goal will be crucial in this game today. I think if Hibs get the first goal in this game, once a goal goes in there, it might be a different game. Hamilton might have to come out a bit.
Another interesting goal this game is Dundee United v Brechin. I mean, they would be looking at that as the team just up, Brechin City. Dundee United fans would certainly be looking at that, with expectation. So
it's a real lack of goals in the Scottish League. I mean, last week Peter were all the time. We were into
have to bring Waghorn back up the road.
Bring Ruffy back in.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, because our treble's coming up week in, week out at the moment.
What was the treble today? What happens is the treble was Ruffy's non-runner. He's away.
If Ruffy's not here, all forms of gambling cease. just basically because you're here, so we've got to keep you on the straight and narrow. And Gordon and I.
Am I allowed to gamble now? I'm out again.
Well, that's another thing, Jerry. You're actually allowed to put a bet on, because you're not involved in football. The minute you go back into it, you've obviously got to calm your jets. Stranraer won, Ayr won, and I have to tell you, Jack Hamilton, it looks as if he's produced a fantastic save. And he's just saved it with his feet. I mean, it's a magnificent one. Kenny Miller looked odds on to score, but Hamilton, that's an incredible save there, and it still keeps it at 0-0.
And Hamilton's been a goalkeeper. There's been questions over him. When he was brought into the Scotland squad, I think, far too early. He was never going to play, but he was brought in. And then he went out through a wee dip in form as well. Yeah. So maybe this is having confidence returning.
I think St Mirren are down to 10 men.
Yeah.
I think they've had a man sent off.
Yep, Gary Irvin's been sent off in that match. Sorry, I should have told you that, Gordon. It's just come in the last couple of minutes. Gary Irvin was sent off there for a foul deep inside his own half. So suddenly, the Saints are up against it there. 1-1 against Livingston as well.
Yeah, that'd be... I mean, I think Livingston was a team that I felt... Hugh said if MD outside, the recognised teams to be up challenging near the top. You said unfairment. I think Livingston's going to be the one. I think that they will be, but that's a big boost to them today. I mean, St Mirren, after a great start, beating Falkirk in the first game, then getting hammered last week. Hammered at Morton was a total shock.
A man sent off there as well.
That's right. They did.
Yep, that's how it looks in the Championship today. Dundee United is still looking for that breakthrough. As far as the big game there in the Championship, Dunfermline are 2-0 up on Falkirk, and Stranraer won, Ayr won. Declan McDade scoring that equalising goal there. And another player, you start to see players that have started out with everybody raving about them, and then they have to think and ask themselves the question, do I want to play regular football? I have to go and go down the leagues.
Yeah, I think they find a level, and they're better going playing. We had a problem when I was at Dumbarton, trying to get players to play, trying to get players to come from the top leagues. They wouldn't come down, and you're saying, well, you're sitting in the stand, why not come and play? And because I knew Stephen Dobie well, we had Stephen at Hibs, and he was sitting in the bench at St Johnstone or up in the stand. I says, come down and play with us for a few months. He came down, he scored 10 goals, went back to St Johnstone, moved to Queen of the South, and his career down to Swansea.
What a player he is.
Oh, goal scorer. I mean, he was sitting in the stands, Hugh. I was saying, why don't you just come and play? I know it's the third division, but at least you're playing every week. And after the rest history, you know, he went down.
I don't
what a
understand
good career.
players that don't want to play. I don't either.
I'm the same. I'm the same. Just come and play.
I know.
Just come and play.
Is there a player that you've had, Jerry, over the course of your career when you were involved in management at clubs? Is there a player that's come down whose attitude was first class? Because this is something that, again, we picked up on from Sir Alex Ferguson on Thursday night, was the fact that he had the drive and he had to make sure that he consistently showed them that he wouldn't tolerate it, the slip in the standards. So after Manchester United defeated Bayern Munich in the Camp Nou, Fergie's automatically thinking, how can I replicate this? How can I win this again? This is him thinking about it on the day.
Yeah.
How can I win this again the year after? So you can imagine the way his head's operating. Were there players in your mind that it came down that you worked with that you thought he's going to be a top player, his attitude's first class?
We had a boy, Andy Geoghegan, who got released from Livingston at the time, and I got a phone call about him. And we brought Andy in, and he played it right back for us. And this boy, just up and down all day, up and down. And he wanted to make it again. He wanted to get to the top again because he thought his career was over. Played him at centre half, played him in midfield, and honestly, what an attitude the boy had. And that's how he get back up the ladder again. He ended up. He was at Dunfermline last year. He's went on to Ayr United. We brought him into Dunfermline. But he was just one of these boys. He didn't accept it. Wait a minute, I'm better than this. He says, I know I'm better than this. But at training, he had the same attitude. He played the way he trained. There's a saying about Stephen Dobie. You think Dobie came down to third division, would swan about, no chance. I just came down. Because he knew he had something offer, he could play at the highest level. And that's the only way we're going to do it. Because you're back in the shop window and you're saying to yourself, well, look, if I don't do it here, where am I going to go? My next drop's junior or something like that.
Well, that's what Alex Ferguson was saying as well. The important aspect of character and attitude for any player is key. That's
of course it is.
See, I've got no time for. See, people say they're all usually standing in the pub with a pint. I could have been a player, but I didn't have the attitude. And it's like saying, I could have been a player, but I couldn't kick with either foot. I mean, the attitude's not just like a wee complimentary thing.
Something you have to be strong
I was talking to
about
Simon Ferry about this for the interview I did for the paper, and he was saying, well, look at Tierney. Tierney couldn't get in. He says, when I was coaching at Celtic under 9, he says, Kieran Tierney couldn't get into the under 17s Celtic team. So he went away and worked. 3 years later, he's walking out with the armband on. He's Celtic captain.
Correct.
That just shows you. I know what you're saying, Hugh, but see, the thing is, players will always blame somebody else. They'll always go away and say, it's not my fault. I never get a chance to do it. Make it your chance. Put yourself in the picture.
Yes.
And Gordon's saying it's all about attitude.
I can tell you right now, it's half-time at Fir Park. Andrew McLean has the details.
Motherwell 0, Ross County 0, the half-time score from Fir Park. And the game has been just about as bad as the weather here, to be honest. A frustrating first half for both sides. A real stop-start affair dominated by niggly challenges and off-the-ball tussles. The away side have looked better on the ball. Some nice passages of play breaking forward, but only a couple of shots on target to show for it. After 17 minutes, a spectacular overhead kick effort by Christopher Rooties from about 12 yards was caught by Russell Griffiths in the Motherwell goal. And the same man saved a tame Michael Garding effort later on after some good play down the right-hand side by Jason Naismith. Half-time, Motherwell 0, Ross County 0.
I get the feeling that Andrew's not enjoying that game. Let's hope for better fare in the second half. Let's go to Ibrox now. Half-time there, Rangers Hearts, Des McKeown. I think
chances throughout the first half. They started very bright.
Yeah, we'll come back. We'll come back to Des. Just a technical situation there at Ibrox. Very difficult with 50,000 fans all using their phones. But it's 0-0, I can tell you. And I think the highlight of it all has to be John Souttar's shot, which crashed back off the bar from 40 yards. Other than that, I think from the Rangers' perspective, they'll be looking at that chance for Kenny Miller, Hugh McDonald, which Jack Hamilton produced a big save.
Yeah, and the result not what Rangers want at the moment. I'm very strong, and I was stuck to today, and yesterday, that this is a must-win for him. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to, Cashin's going to get sacked on Monday if they draw nothing each, but he's got to build up a momentum that talks to this narrative of pushing Celtic closer. And you can't say after 3 games, if they draw today, I know if it's all this, that and the next thing, but if they draw today, they're 5 points behind Celtic after 3 games.
I think you're right here. What you said earlier on was the fact that they've come in, he's come in, and it's not as if he was just starting this season and brought in these players. He would get a longer time.
Exactly.
But because of what happened at the end of last season, not the best, with the 2 defeats to Celtic, losing to Aberdeen, starts this season with a European defeat to one of the low-level teams. And then last week's defeat, and he has to then pick it up. And I think the fans will react to it today. I mean, it's 0-0 just now. Yeah. Interesting to see what Des says about how they're playing. But Rangers, I agree with you. Rangers need, the last thing needs a defeat today. That's for sure. They might get away with a draw, but even at that, there'll be a level of negativity towards it.
Yeah, absolutely. One match is already finished. The early kick-off at Rugby Park was Kilmarnock 0. Celtic 2, Forrest and McGregor scoring the goals there for Celtic. Only 2 goals scored in the Premiership in the 3 o'clock kickoffs this afternoon, both of them by former St Johnstone players. Well, one of them is on loan there at St Johnstone now, and I'm talking, of course, about Michael O'Halloran. He scored. St Johnstone 1, Partick Thistle 0. The only other goal is Stevie May, who scored to put Aberdeen in front against Dundee. Join us after the break and we'll give you all the half-time scores. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Saturday Football Show. Gordon Smith, Jerry McCabe and Hugh McDonald are with me here in the studio. We're taking you all the way through until 6 o'clock. Let's look at the half-time scores. First of all, in the Premiership in Scotland, goals in short supply. Just a quick confirmation of the Kilmarnock score. It is actually 2-0. That should read Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 2. That game finished at 12:30. Aberdeen 1, Dundee 0. Stevie May with the goal, and also, as you can see, no goals right across until you get to the bottom there, where Michael O'Halloran scores the only goal of the first half at St Johnstone, leading by 1-0. In the Championship, Dundee United 0, Brecon City 0, Dunfermline 2, Falkirk 0. Inverness Caledonian Thistle 1, Morton 0, Livingston 1, St Mirren 1, Queen of the South 1, Dumbarton 0. And in League One, it's Albion Rovers 1, Airdrieonians 2, Alloa 0, Queen's Park 0, Arbroath 1, East Fife 3, Raith Rovers 1, Forfar Athletic 1, Stranraer 1, Ayr United 1. In League 2 in Scotland, Berwick Rangers 1, Annan Athletic 3, Elgin City 1, Clyde 2, Montrose 1, Cowdenbeath 0, Stenhousemuir 1, Peterhead 1, and Stirling Albion 2, Edinburgh City 0. And in the Premier League, confirmation of that result from earlier on, Swansea City 0, Manchester United 4, Bournemouth 0, Watford 0, Burnley 0, West Brom 0, Leicester City 1, Brighton and Hove Albion 0, Liverpool 0, Crystal Palace 0, and Southampton 2, West Ham United 1. Stoke City Arsenal is the 5:30 kick-off. So there you have it, north and south of the border, the top divisions. Manchester United impressive with their win. Celtic, of course, will hog the back pages because it's a confidence-boosting win at Kilmarnock, Gordon Smith, and now I think they'll be casting an eye over at what's happening at Ibrox. This is a huge 45 minutes for Pedro Caixinha's side.
Oh, definitely. As I say, because of the circumstances behind going into this game, everything that's been happening, this is a must-win game. I don't think there's any doubt about that he needs to turn the fans around and give them some sort of belief that he's got the team right, and because he hasn't got any more players to bring in now. This is his full first-team squad, and the players that he says are strengthening the team. Herrera's not playing a game. I've never been impressed with him so far in the games I've seen, and he's got a better reputation than Marcellus, who's playing in the team, but I didn't see enough from him. So this is the number one, the top 11 that are in the team today. So that's why he needs to get a result.
Hugh, the other aspect of this, which you'll eventually, when you start losing games, people start beating you over the head with stats and things like that. Peña's diet is apparently atrocious. He's not even fit.
Well, you can't have that. Not at this level. You can't bring in players that are not fit. It's just as simple as that. It's just top levels. You've got to be, really on your game. You've really be ready to play. Okay, you can be not match fit, but you've got to. There's a certain level of fitness. I just think there's big question marks over him, still hanging over. He's got 45 minutes to solve them.
Yep, it is a huge second half coming up at Ibrox. Rangers 0, Hearts 0. Celtic already have the points in the bag, and they could have a 5-point advantage over Rangers if it stays the same. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Saturday Football Show. The second half is just about to get underway across all 4 divisions in Scotland. And, of course, down south in the Premier League, we'll keep you up to date with all the goals as they hit the back of the net. We'll also, on this programme, be looking ahead to a crucial game, which many have predicted is actually just as a formality for Celtic in Europe against Astana on Tuesday. But the main headlines this afternoon is James Forrest and Callum McGregor score the goals to give Celtic all 3 points at Rugby Park. As far as the game of the day at Ibrox, still no goals at the moment. It's Rangers 0, Hearts 0, Hugh McDonald.
Yep, and we talked about it before the break. Big 45 minutes for Senior Kashinya and his team. Nothing to say they won't be able to score in the second half. A couple of good chances in the first, but the tension will be mounting. Interesting one, Peter, that you were talking about, the Astana game on Tuesday, which I thought would have been pretty tight. You know, Celtic maybe going over there. I mean, best in the world, maybe 2-0 up, 2-1 up, 3-1 up. It now becomes 5-0. I noticed Brendan Rodgers is saying post-match against Kilmarnock that it's he's going to treat it as a nothing each match, going to treat it as the tie's not over, and that's the only way you can do it, I suppose.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I think that's why he's resisted the temptation to play likes of Simonovic and Sinclair and the rest on the 4G at Kilmarnock, and has kept to his plan of going, because this is the biggest game of the season.
4G over there too, though, is
yes,
it?
It is.
4G,
it is. And that's why, you know, he's
wanting to play twice on it.
I don't think he wants them to play twice on it, and I think he's right to do so, and I think he's right to treat it very seriously, because this is the biggest game of Celtic season again.
Yeah.
I do, because games can turn around. We've seen it before. What was the one last year with Barcelona, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They were well down. Was it Paris Saint-Germain were beating them comfortably and then they came back?
Yeah.
So you got to treat it like as if spot on, as if this is we're going into this game 0-0, and as long as, even if it's any kind of defeat, general defeat, it's not going to put them out. And the main thing is that they're through to the qualifying, the group stages.
I think he'd be disappointed if he gets beat over there. I think he'd be saying, want to keep the momentum going, but be professional. He says the job's only half done, although you've got a great lead, 5-0 lead. But I think he'd be wanting to go over there and win the game.
Yeah, also I think a key point, which is the class of the man, Brendan Rodgers just praising Lee McCulloch and saying, you know, his team and him himself, there's no need to worry, he'll be okay. I mean, I think there's a lot of dialogue between Lee McCulloch and Brendan Rodgers at the best of times anyway, because most people think managers don't get on with each other. They have a chat, they have a natter, they speak to each other, and I think any praise itself was well received. I think Lee McCulloch mentioned he was humbled by the praise that came his way from the Celtic boss.
I watched it myself. I didn't think Kilmarnock did too badly. You know, they had 1 or 2 chances, but they competed the whole way through the game. A late goal made it a comfortable win. Celtic into 2 goals to win. But before that, up till about the 85th minute, it was a tight game. You know, 1-0 is not a great lead. You know what I mean? So from that point of view, Kilmarnock were right in the game till the very end. But you know, I think that. He's got to get things going. I mean, he's praised Lee McCulloch. I think Lee McCulloch's the right man for the job too. But he's had 3 defeats in 3 games, and it's 3 home games. So next week becomes a big game for him. As I said before, they've got Hamilton Accies at home, Peter, and that's their 4th home game in a row. So they've got to try and take something from that.
Yep.
The interesting thing about Rodgers and McCulloch as well is I think Brendan was very pleased with the way Kilmarnock handled Ayer last season on loan, how they brought him on, how he was coached, you know, how much a better player he came back than when he went away. So I think he was pleased with that as well.
It was interesting you were talking earlier on about Rangers, you know, sitting 0-0 at the moment, about ex-players. I see Barry Mackay has also scored today.
Is it?
Yeah,
Nottingham Forest have beaten Middlesbrough 1-0. So
I think we get in for them.
So you get Waghorn, Mackay, O'Halloran.
Yeah. You know. Let's get a half-time report on that first 45 minutes between Rangers and Hearts.
Yeah, goalless at half-time, Peter, and it was Rangers in ascendancy for most of that half. Started very well. Lee Miller shot blocked by Bear after only 10 minutes. That kind of set the tone. This fed in on the half-hour mark. Last gasp challenge from Suter cleared the danger there. But the best chances, Alves header from a corner back across the goal, was just dropping in underneath the crossbar, cleared off the line, and then a couple of minutes later we had Wallace cross for Lee Miller. for Lee Miller. For Kenny Miller, he took a fantastic touch just about a penalty, hit a fantastic drive low down towards Jack Hamilton's feet. The big keeper managed to get his feet sorted out, cleared the danger. That was everything that Rangers had to throw at Hearts. Some stout defending from the Hearts backline, and John Souttar, one of those defenders, almost opened the score for Hearts halfway through the half with a thundering 40-yard effort, right-footed shot, crashed off the underside of the bar, bounced down, clear. So that's why we're goalless at half-time.
Just a quick question to you, Des. Is there an element of frustration among the Rangers supporters that they haven't got that goal?
Doesn't appear to be yet, Peter. No, I think the Rangers fans see that the Rangers players are certainly in the ascendancy. They've been dominating the game, and I think they're quietly confident that they will get the breakthrough. What I didn't see in the half-time report there was that Morelos actually had a goal chalked off for offside, but apart from that, no, I'm still fairly patient.
Okay, that's Des McKeown there at Ibrox, where it's still 0-0 in that match. I think the other element here we've got to mention in the Premiership, Jerry, is if St Johnstone win today, they'll also have 3 consecutive wins in the opening 3 games of the Premier League.
You look at St Johnstone every year, they do it every year. They've been in the top 6 for the last 5-6 years. Tommy Wright, you've got to give him immense credit for what he's done up there. They play the basics. They play the basic 4-4-2 or 4-4-1-1 when they play, and they always give you problems. And his team, you don't look at his. Obviously, they brought in a wee bit of quality now in O'Halloran, bringing him back, but they're workmanlike at the back. They work so hard. Middle of the park, they work hard, and they've got goal scorers in McLean. And obviously with O'Halloran coming back, Witherspoon are all capable of scoring goals. But you know, year in year out, they keep doing it. You know, I think they'll be in the top 6 this year again.
Yeah. Inverness 1, Morton 1. Robert Thompson's got the equaliser for Jim Duffy's side. As far as St Mirren are concerned, they've got 10 men and they're now 2-1 up on Livingston. Riley scoring the goal there, so the Saints have come battling back.
Motherwell have scored as well now, Peter. First another goal in the Premier. We haven't had a goal in the Premier Division for some time today, but I think Motherwell have gone in front.
Yeah, Richard Tate has scored the goal for Motherwell, so the breakthrough in that game. And I can tell you Hamilton Accies have a penalty against Hibernian, and just looking, Ali Crawford was fouled going into the penalty box, and they have scored. So there you have it. This is I think the 3rd time that Hibernian have gone behind in a game, Hugh.
Yeah, and we talked earlier, you know, about the importance of this game to Hibernian, you know, because this was a game where the expectation would be on them to win. And certainly the Neil Lennon would be a game where he'd be saying, if we're going to make a big push towards the top of the league, this is a game, Hamilton at home, quite frankly, is a game you've got to win.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's again, you know, the away team, no pressure. You find it, I think you said it earlier, Gordon, about the home team always find more pressure. Like Hibs going to Ibrox last week, pressure's all in Rangers, Hibs get the result. But you would think, you know, with the recruitment that Lenny's brought in over the season, they'll be very disappointed if they don't even get, you know, if they don't win the game today. Yeah. And I think, you know, it sets them back a bit. You know, saying we can go to Ibrox and win, then they start to think at home, is there more pressure on us? Can the players handle it with the home fans if they're giving them a wee bit of stick? So they'll be a bit disappointed if they don't win that game.
Well, I have to tell you, Jerry, who would want to actually go into the dressing room if they don't get an equaliser and a win anyway? It'll be it won't be him cupping his ears. I'll be throwing cups. Let me tell you. I can tell you, Craig Sibbald has been sent off for Falkirk. They're now down to 10 men. He had a kick at Joe Cardle, and I'm just like the referee's no trouble whatsoever with the decision. He just red card. He's off. It's not been a good couple of months for Craig Sibbald. He almost got the move to Luton, didn't work out, back up, signed a 1-year deal, red card here, and they are 2-0 down to Dunfermline. Nico Kranjčar has come on for Rangers for Josh Windass, so the change has been made.
Yep, you would have to assume that it was an injury happened at half-time, although sometimes Kushinya can be quite proactive at half-time with his substitutions, but usually Windass a big player.
Yeah, he's just made it. I think he's made a tactical change here, because the one thing I know about Kranjčar, which I think it is something that Pedro Caixinha will bear in mind. He's 32, Gordon. He's not got he hasn't got the legs, but boy, he can pick a pass.
Absolutely, that's what I'm saying. With the amount of time left in the game, he's a good player to be able to bring on, because he's a player that can turn a game.
Yeah.
He's a player that can win a game for you, and from free kicks are also creative to create chances and all that sort of thing. Definitely, he's a player. But I see Garner's also scored now, Hugh, just to add to it.
I mean,
Ex-Rangers players scoring goals everywhere.
Yeah. Can I just say right now, if Philip Sebo scores, we're all going home. It's as simple as that. I mean, honestly, you do.
But it shows you, I mean, on Twitter and social media, when Mick McCarthy, who knows the score when it comes to managing football clubs, he knows the score. He always was criticised. Oh, look at this idiot! He's buying Garner, he's buying Wycon and all that. And you say to him, wait and see, you know, wait and see how they get on. Garner, actually, I've watched a lot of the EFL over the last couple of weeks, and what Garner is doing was what he was presumably bought Rangers to do. He's scored from inside. The balls are coming into him, and he's just
getting chances, putting the ball in the net.
Jerry McCabe, Deacon has equalised for Dundee. Aberdeen 1, Dundee 1.
He's been a good signing since he came. I've been quite impressed with him. Plays wide and the right, and good feet, good cross for the ball. So, as I said, Dundee, they'll go up there and obviously they'll set themselves the stall out. Whereas they'll be delighted with a draw up there, but who knows now, they could go and win the game.
Gordon, you were the last goal scorer for Brighton, and you're still the last goal scorer for Brighton, because Harry Maguire scored for Leicester. They're 2-0 up against Brighton. Smith comes back. Never mind, Smith must score. Smith comes back for Brighton to try and get a goal. So that's the latest there. Arbroath 2, East Fife 3 in League One. Big news from that game at Pittodrie. It's 1-1 between Aberdeen and Dundee. It finished earlier. Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 2. James Forrest and Callum McGregor scoring the goals there. Forrest, it was a cutback. Tom Rogic driving into the box, cuts it back, and he just opened his boot, side-footed the ball into the back of the net, and Celtic had the lead. And then in the second half, it was a lovely pass through to Callum McGregor, who just put it from close range into the back of the net to give Celtic all 3 points. I can tell you that Hibs are making changes, and again, this is what we talk about, proactive managers. Neil Lennon has brought on Brandon Barker. This is Danny Swanson going off, but this is the man that he got on loan from Manchester City. He's a tricky winger.
And Lenny talked about, you know, he's watched him over the years and really impressed with him. One of the things I was thinking today, though, was like, if you're looking at Simon Murray as a goal scorer today, you would say this may be not the game that suited him, because Hamilton will be, you would imagine, be parked on the 18-yard line, so there'll be no room for him, and that's where he's. And I'm just wondering. I haven't said that, of course. Once I've said that, he'll score the equaliser in 2 minutes. Yeah. But you would have. I had a wee feeling that Lenny might have changed that around. Well, they're taking off a guy who scored 10 goals already this season, maybe. But obviously, Lenny's trying to force something along, Peter, because he knows he's got to change the pattern of the game. He's got to unsettle Hamilton, because Hamilton will be looking at that now and going, my goodness, this is a lovely buffer, you know, 1-0 up at Easter Road.
Certainly, in the moment, I mean, they've got the 3 points in the first game, and then if they were to get
even a point, they'd be happy.
Oh, I'd be delighted with that.
I think, believe it or not, St Mirren, who are down to 10 men, have scored again, Peter.
Yeah,
I think they're winning 3-1 up.
Yeah, Livingston 1, St Mirren 3. I can tell you, Danny Denham's got his 4th goal of the season for Arbroath. They're making it interesting against East Fife. It's Arbroath 2, East Fife 3, but that the goal there for St Mirren, that would be a huge result for them. And again, you know, Jack Ross is so confident about it. When he was talking to us last week on the programme, he mentioned, Jerry, that their aspirations now, after the survival of last season, is promotion. Yeah,
they don't want to be back down there. You know, and Jack, you know, he's recruited well the players he brought in last year to get them out of the situation they were in. And I think he'll be looking for a massive response from last week after getting beat with the rivals, you know, Morton, well beaten. I think you'll be looking for a big result
today. That would turn out to be a great victory if they end up winning that game after going to 10 men, wouldn't it? Especially when it's one each when they're down to 10.
Another thing as well, which is really interesting, is Gavin Riley scored 2 goals today for him, and he's a guy that I followed, you know, from Queen of the South, Hearts Bomb, didn't work out for him. I always liked him as a player.
We had him at Queen of the South, and his pace, blistering pace, and you know, strong boy, works hard, looks after himself as well. Just deep boy. Sometimes you try to talk to him, but you know he can score goals running behind. Good touch, and he's strong holding the ball. I know he went to Hearts, it didn't work out for him. Dunfermline, you know, and he's the type of player, another one, you need to put your arm around and say, boy, you're better, you know you are. But as I say, he's a great boy to work with.
Yeah, I love that line that you used there, Jerry. He's a deep boy. I can remember interviewing Brian McClare. He was at the end of his career at Motherwell for STV, and we had the camera on him, and Owen Coyle came in from the side and looked straight into Brian McClare's ear and just looked at me and said, he's as deep as the ocean in there, you know that. I always worry when managers and assistants start saying he's a deep boy. Yeah. Hello, are you listening to what I'm telling you? Can you do it?
That sounds nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Stranraer 1, Ayr 3. Michael Moffat scored. What a great return to Ayr United for Moffat.
Yeah, and Ayr are looking really strong in that division. You know, they just didn't have enough last year to stay in the championship. I believe they've got an excellent manager, Ian McCall. I believe they've got, you know, 4 or 5 players there that I would say should be a division, at least one division higher. So that's a good return for them. And down my other wee tips for this season is Stirling Albion. They're winning comfortably in Division 2 again.
I think they'll go up. I think they'll get promotion. But Dunfermline are 3-0 up now on Falkirk, 10-man Falkirk. So we're not taking away from that argument that it's hard to win with 10 men when they're one each and they're winning. But Falkirk with 10 men are losing 3-0.
Yeah, well, the good news is the linesman has just put his flag up and ruled it offside.
Really?
Which is incredible. It's been judged offside. McManus with the ball, he's rushed away there. I think that's one of those ones that, you know, you think it's in the net, and then all of a sudden, quickly, all the journalists say, can I take that copy back?
Are they looking at the footage?
Yeah, they're looking at the footage as we speak, and it is 2-0 still to Dunfermline. And the worst thing, Jerry, is putting the ball in the back of the net and running away doing an over-elaborate celebration, and then you really do get pelters from the fans.
Done it.
Yeah?
Done it. Clyde, years ago, played Partick Thistle at Firhill, and Jimmy Rennie and that with no bad side. And the boy McFarlane and the boy went to Rangers.
Yeah.
He come back to Partick, and I'd cut the ball out, and I chipped it. The goalie was, it looked as if I was going to strike it, but I chipped it. And I seen the ball going in, but Stevie Clark was, once it was in there, he hit it in the net, but he was in an offside position. And me and Jimmy are running away over the halfway line, and we got like the Clyde fans. Everybody stopped. It's chopped off. She's how can they chop off wee Stevie standing in the offside position?
It's great. When you celebrate something like that's happened to me as well once, but the best one I think for celebration, Peter, is the one they often show. Remember the penalty shootout? And it hit the bar and came out, and the goalie runs away celebrating, and the ball spins back in. That's one of the best ever.
But have you been given a goal now? It doesn't matter if you're standing offside position.
Because not in
No, at the time, because he was standing.
Somebody else was offside.
Somebody else was offside.
Yeah, can I tell you, there's another change for Hibernian. They really are throwing caution to the wind. McGregor's going off. That's Darren McGregor, and on comes Slivka. This is one of the 2 Lithuanian internationalists that the Hibs have now in their squad. Slivka, of course, scored a brilliant half volley against Rangers last week. Well, he's on again to see if he can make a difference. Falkirk are down to 9 men, Hugh. I think Peter Houston's side have just lost their discipline. Lee Miller, it's a straight red card for an elbow.
So that's it. That's it, domino, isn't it? It's over.
That's what I love about Daily Mail, men. You know, you just put your neck out there and you say, that's over. All Falkirk fans can forget about it now.
Go home now. Yeah. Go home now, get the cup of soup out, wet day.
I meant to ask you this. Have you ever witnessed, this is something that annoys me, fans who get up and leave with 10 minutes to go in games? It annoys the life out of me. Or if you're being thumped, you've paid for the game, why don't you watch the other team as well?
Loads of Ibrox is one of the places where it's in their masses leaving well before the end of the game. I don't know what it's to do with the transport or whatever. But
I've never done it in my life.
No.
And I've been sitting frozen as a punter. And last season, as you know, Peter, I went to a lot of games as a punter.
Yeah.
I never ever do it. I just think it's just madness just to leave a game before the end. Because I think it's because I'm kind of obsessed with football. So I always find, I'm one of these guys who always find something interesting about it, you know.
And it's not that. It's probably the father, and he grabs his wee boy, says, "You're going, come on, let's go." Drags him out, and he's saying,
Randall and Walker taken off in that match, substituted, so hasn't quite worked out for Jamie Walker in this one. And Navak and it looks as if Robin has come on.
Right. Well, he's obviously not doing a great job. To be fair, though, he's got a lack of games in some respect. Jamie Walker, you know what I mean? He's not been playing many games, has he? So maybe his general fitness, his match fitness, isn't quite up to speed.
I think I know what we're doing about right. I was slightly surprised that they started him. I thought they might use them as an
brought him on later, like Rangers done with Crancha.
You know, just like you can
the tempo of the game's out there, you know.
Yes,
so 60s. He's had his hours. So
he's probably gambled with it, you know, and saying, right, as you say earlier on, maybe, hey, I go out here and have a stormer here, then Rangers, then they up the ante for the fee for him if they really want him. But as I say, if he's not getting that game time, and the longer the game goes on, he's going to struggle, he's going to tire.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if he's maybe subbed either because of tiredness, or once Des tells us whether he was doing nothing. He maybe wasn't a contributor at all.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the key element here, and the great thing about social media is a classic Scottish line: he was doing nothing.
That's a technical term.
That's a technical term. I'm happy with that line from Des. He was doing nothing.
The best one about walking out is one before was the great Motherwell Hibs game. I ended up 6-8.
That was brilliant.
And then I think it was Hibs were up 4-1 at one point, and the Motherwell stand opposite the press box just emptied.
Yeah, the other one that is famous for that was the Manchester United winning Champions League.
Was that?
Yeah, they'd left in their thousands when United were down 1-0.
You can't do that, can you?
How long was it to go? It was only.
It was in time added on. They scored both goals.
It wasn't even. Was it over in Paris that game? Was it?
No, it was in the Nou Camp.
Nou Camp it was. That's right.
3 minutes to go.
And they'd left in their drove.
How could you leave? I mean, they should just get scalped over the head. I mean, how can you leave it? Your team's in a Champions League Cup.
I know.
I don't care if you're going to meet 7-0. Your team's in a Champions League final.
And they left before the end. Where were they
going? It's a long
going?
way to go to walk out early.
I was just about to say to you, I've got to remind you, scalping somebody for the heat is not the best course of action, but it's a turn of phrase. There's a brilliant line.
Other heads are available.
Yes, absolutely. But I think it's a brilliant line. It's just Hugh saying, "Come on, get a grip of yourself," because quite simply, you cannot leave a game. Before the end of it, especially the other thing about it as well, and this is a great point you make. I can remember the game over in Rome. I went over to watch the Champions League final where Barcelona just obliterated Manchester United. And some fans leave, and I think, why don't you stay for the occasion, the celebration? You can see you've seen Barcelona lift the European Cup, or for the guys who stayed and watched Manchester United, that's just absolutely
Were they the same?
fantastic.
Did a lot leave that night too?
There are people leaving you by the end of it. I'm looking, I'm thinking, stay. You are watching one of the greatest club sides ever. I mean, for me to actually turn around and say, I've been to a Champions League final and I've watched one of the greatest club sides ever to play the game. I mean, you think about, we were talking about Sir Alex Ferguson earlier on. Sir Alex Ferguson still waxes lyrical about the 1960 Real Madrid side.
Of course, well, he would, because that was one of the great, probably maybe the greatest European Cup final of all time. Real Madrid beat Eintracht Frankfurt 7-3, and Eintracht Frankfurt team that beat Rangers 12-3 in the semi-finals. I mean, you're talking about top class. But to go back, I mean, as a football fan, why would you leave early? Because if your team's winning, you're there to rejoice. But surely if your team's getting beat, you're there to offer your support.
Yeah. Especially like say a cup final or a Champions League, is saying, okay, if it's your local, if it's your biggest rival, and you can't stand to watch anymore, you say, oh, I'm out of here. But if you're going away over there to Rome and watch the Champions League, you say, oh, look, this I'm here for the occasion.
I once sat in the stand, this guy says, oh, I'm just going away to beat the traffic. And I said, well, here's a great idea to beat the traffic. Just don't come. That beats the traffic.
You're a hard man, Hugh, I have to say to you, and I know that if I do go to a game with you and I have a ticket for the Fringe later on, I have to get away.
Wear a helmet.
I'm going to have to stay.
Either that or wear a helmet.
Exactly.
Would you leave a cinema for a film before the end?
And that's another thing I've never, even and sometimes in a film as well, knowing after about 20 minutes Oh, I don't fancy the likes of this, but you hope it gets better.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. I might as well say it now because it's a dilemma that you do get. You said, would you leave a film earlier? I mean, I can remember looking forward to, with great anticipation, going to see Top Gun until my nephew said to us, Gus dies in it.
All right.
I mean, I don't know.
What, Gus dies?
Yeah. Is there any point in going to the movie? That's all I'm saying to you. When you know the ending.
I've got that to watch tonight.
Do you leave when you just keep saying to Steve McQueen, can you get over that fence finally?
Change your plans.
It's as simple as that.
I've got my planner for tonight as well.
It's all these dilemmas, and right now you never know. There could be an equaliser, could be a winner in a game. Rangers can't find one, but Hibs have got one. It's an equaliser. It's 1-1. And I'll tell you, if you're talking about, it's now 2-0 Accies, I beg your pardon. I'm just looking at it here, and it looks as if there's changed the score. It's a typo on the on the teleprinter here. Louis Longridge has scored the goal. Jerry McCabe, if I was a Hibs player, I'd be going home right now with the Hibs fans because Neil Lennon will be unbearable.
Let's go back to earlier in the programme. Are Hibs going to be second in the league? Then let's review that.
I went for Aberdeen.
I still think they'll be top 3.
But you remember Accies beat Hibs in the playoffs at Easter Road.
Yes. And Ali Crawford alluded to that actually. Pre-match, he said, if we can replicate our form going to Easter Road, we're not phased by going there despite their start.
You've got to give them all the credit, Peter, as well. If Hamilton win this game, you have to say they're going to Easter Road today, away from home, against a team who are obviously on a high, right? A great start this season. They've won 6 games, drawn 1 Hibs this season. And if Hamilton go there today and that finishes the scoreline, hats off to them. That's a great score.
And that singing you can hear just floating throughout Lanarkshire as bookmakers all running out to the street and saying, all your Accies are down.
Yes, that's exactly it.
Because I think that'd be one of the certainties.
But if you're talking about an incentive, we talk about some players who want to go and prove a point. This is a club that wants to go and prove a point, Jerry. Everybody's tipping your old club to go down.
Yeah, every year they defy the odds. Yeah. And I think that's what, gets their back up at times. And they get out there. And I know if going with Dundee to Hamilton, you always struggle at that ground for some reason. And maybe it's a mental thing with the players. And you try not to mention the pitch. You try not, let's go and get a job done and that. But they know how to play it. And I'll tell you what, they make a lot of enemies because they're playing in this pitch and everyone's focused, but it takes a lot of the credit away from them because they get some right good results here.
With the resources they've got as well, they do a great job.
Of course they do. Of course they do.
Very, very little money they've got. They have to bring players through. They can hardly sign anybody.
No.
But that's the reason, that daft tipping them to go down because money means everything in the game, and they've got less money than any other team in the division.
I think Marcus Fraser has been sent off for pulling down Louis Moult as a penalty to Motherwell in that game at Fir Park. What a chance this is, and Aston Villa 3-1 up on Norwich City in the Championship, but what a chance this is. This could be a huge 3 points for Motherwell if they were to get a goal and hold on as they go into the final quarter of that match.
Jimmy Mack will thank me for tipping them.
Yep, and it's now 2-0 Motherwell. Well, Louis Moult has scored the goal. The fans are cheering. Whether he leaves before the window or in the January transfer window, they won't care as long as he scores goals to keep them up.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's what he does do. I mean, he does. But I think the Ross County get a red card for that decision as well. Yeah. So that game's probably finished now too. So that's a good result for Motherwell with the start they've had this season. They're looking to get their first points in the bag, and that's them done it now, I think.
Yep, the Sadio Mane has scored for Liverpool in their match. They are a goal up. Sadio Mane scoring the goal there. I have to tell you that Crystal Palace, they've had a shaky start. Frank de Boer's going to take a bit of time to get them right, but I'm still, I have leanings towards Liverpool as my one of my favourite teams in England. I just don't see them as... I don't even see them top 4.
Do you know, I think they've got a chance in top 4, and I think that's... I think if they get a good centre half, they get Van Dijk or something like that.
Yeah.
I think that changes everything for them. I think they're very good going forward. I think Firmino is a good player. He's not the kind of outright centre forward that we're all used to. Sturridge when he's fit. Salah has been great since he's come. Mane, the guy who scored the goal, is a real game changer. Quick. Good finisher, decent in midfield, and he's still. I think Coutinho's gone, so he might have Coutinho's money to play with. Because how do you turn around and say to Coutinho, you can't go to Barcelona? I think that's going to be a difficult one.
And if you're getting that kind of money, you know, I mean, you could bring in maybe 3 quality players out of that.
Yeah, but I can tell you Bournemouth 0, Watford 1. There's also Burnley 0, West Bromwich Albion 1 as well. Hal Robson-Kanu, the Welsh international, has scored that goal as well. And Tony Pulis just signed a new deal at the start of the season. He just seems to work miracles year in, year out, keeping teams in the division. And again, we were talking about managers who get tagged with a certain style of football. He won't care as long as they keep winning.
No, that's what I mean, I think you'll know what you get when you bring it in, Tony Pulis. You're going to get a very strong, defensive, aggressive team. You know, the way he plays, he'll play 4-4-1-1 or 4-5-1. He's very good on set pieces. You're not going to imitate Barcelona in any way, but you're going to stay in the division. And staying in that division is huge. Staying in that division is £100 million a year in television money every year.
Yeah,
you know, so he gets the best out of his squad. That's what he does. He said, not great to watch again, but at the end of the season, he's in that league for another season. That's all they'll be caring about.
And I would have fears over Crystal Palace as well. I think that Frank, the Dutch manager changing the whole culture of that club, because that club was a battling club under Allardyce. He'll have to change things.
He tried to win at Milan,
and it's not a great league to try and change things quickly, and especially when you get beat 3-0 at home by Huddersfield in the first match.
Yeah, Southampton 2, West Ham 2. Chicharito, Javi Hernandez has scored his second of the afternoon. He was brought to score goals and he's stepping up to the plate. I was just slightly disappointed to hear that Slaven Bilic looks as if he's going to let Robert Snodgrass go. It hasn't quite worked out for him in London.
Yeah, after spending so much money, you'd have thought, give the guy a chance. As Hugh said earlier on as well, you can't always tell a player in his first season at a club if that's the finished article or whatever. So I don't know why he wants him to go, because he's a creative player as well, can score goals, and I think that he might have come good for them, but they're moving him on, and it's a shame because he's a player we want to have playing. In terms of playing for Scotland in 2 or 3 weeks' time, we're going to need him.
Motherwell, St Johnstone, Hamilton are the teams that are in the lead at the moment. Maybe not the choice of everyone when you were putting on a coupon this morning, but they're certainly happy with the way things are going. Motherwell could pick up all 3 points. It would be a huge shock at Easter Road. I think that could be the score of the day, unless, of course, we get something from Ibrox, because it's still 0-0 there, Jerry.
Yeah, but I would still say the Hamilton result's the result of the day. You go to Easter Road and win the game, that's the result of the day.
Yeah,
regardless even if Hearts were to get a win at Ibrox, Hamilton winning there when Hibs are on a high, everybody available, all the players, so that's a great one. The other one that surprised the day still is this moment is Dundee United are drawing 0-0 at home to Brecon City. So that's probably a coupon buster as well for a lot of people. That would have been a tip. A lot of people have thought, Dundee United should win that game.
Stick Dundee United.
And of course,
and even if Dundee get a point, Aberdeen's another game.
That'd be a shock as well.
And of course, if Dunfermline defeat Falkirk, I think you might have to wait an hour and a half before you get a chance to chat with Peter Houston. He'll be far from happy, because discipline has been the problem there with regards to Falkirk with the red cards. I think Lee Miller sent off a straight red card for an elbow, which was deemed by the referee to be violent conduct. So that's a worry there. St Mirren, red cards don't worry them. They're 3-1 up against Livingston. I think they've been practising all this week playing with 10 men. It seems to be the trait now when a manager, especially Pedro Caixinha, came out this week, it doesn't do him any favours when he says, well, we're practising and training for a bad referee. That's not a great line, is it? Especially if the referee sees that.
I think Robbie Nielsen was first for that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
But as I say, it takes away. St Mirren today takes away from that argument to a degree where people say, well, when you're down to 10 men, that was a game changer, you can't win with... St Mirren weren't leading when they went down to 10 men. That's the other thing about them, they were drawing one each. And now they're up 3-1.
Maybe no surprise that Israeli scored the goals as well because he's pacey, you know. So maybe he's capitalised and just hitting in the break.
Yeah, I'm just looking here. Berwick Rangers won Annan Athletics 5 at home. That's a real.
Is that a derby? Is that a derby game?
Well, it's as close to each other as you would get in that area. Yeah,
it's got to be, isn't it? A bit of a derby that game.
Well, I'll tell you. Just out of curiosity, is there any excuse for the Berwick fans leaving at the moment? I just want to know. I just want to see if you've shifted.
No, I'm still going for the hard exit, as I'll call it now. I don't see, even if you were getting beat 5-1, if you're a supporter, surely you stay on to actually show some kind of defiance.
Maybe the bus drivers at the game, and he says, I'm going. Some of yourselves, you can stay if you want.
I was always a man to stay at the end of a match. Again, I was saying to Jerry, maybe it's because I'm kind of that obsessive way about football that I always find, I'm one of these guys where people watch a game on the telly and say, that was terrible, and they tweet about, that Manchester United Liverpool game was on. I'm looking at it, I thought it was alright.
Different opinions, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just all about your level of entertainment threshold. It's as simple.
A simple life for me, Peter, as you know.
Listen, you pay your money, you can offer your opinion on it, and you can stay for as long as possible if you're going to a game with Hugh McDonald. If you decide you want to leave it early, give us a reason why, apart from obviously trying to get the train. I can tell you it's Stranraer 2, Ayr 3. Ryan Thompson's got a goal back for Stranraer there. I'm looking at it, we're getting to that, what I call squeaky bum time, as we've quoted Sir Alex all day. I don't think at this moment, unless Des McKeown at the end of the game says to us that Rangers were well worthy of 3 points, I don't think 0-0 will be looked upon as a good result.
No, I don't think so either. I think Rangers fans have been looking to win it, but as I say, it depends on the performance too. I mean, they might. The first thing in football always is result, and then the performance is generally the second thing that's discussed. And the only way you get away with a bad result, or the incorrect result, is if you actually do put in a good performance.
Yeah, well, they're dominating, and apart from dominating, they just can't get the ball in the net. Ryan Hardy's just gone close for Rangers, still no way through. I think the Hearts fans will be jumping for joy if they get a point there. I tell you, Aberdeen have just scored 2-1 against Dundee. Stevie May gets his second, and this is an absolute raker, as they say. This is the one, Jerry, where you just turn round and you say, cuddle me now, it's special.
I remember scoring a goal like that against us, Dunfermline. Alloa, was it Alloa as well? St John. I'm telling you, it was Hamilton Accies, and he reeked it. It was a cup, and he just smashed it for about 30 yards, underside of the bar. Keeper never moved. So obviously he's capable of that.
I'll tell you, that endears you quickly to a support who, let's be honest about it, they were giving him pelters when he played for St Johnstone.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But you're right, it turns it around. I mean, you look at the lad Christie as well, who's gone there as well. The stick he was getting it at first, but now they recognise he's a really good player and he can do a great job for them. So Stevie May is a good signing for Aberdeen. I'll give him credit for that. Neil McCann were a bit gutted with that because obviously they're playing pretty well to have been sitting there and one each, you know.
Are you happy with the experience, Gordon? That's all I'm saying to you. Scott McDonald scored for Dundee United. They've got that goal. They're 1-0 up in Brecon.
Important goal as well. That's it. I mean, it's like, as I say, it's all about result first is the most important thing. And with Dundee United only drawing at home with Brecon, I was quite surprised at that. I thought that's a bit of a game changer. That's not one you would predict, but Scott McDonald, somebody you can rely on too, and I think a good signing for them.
And they'll be paying him good money as well, presumably.
Yeah, they'll pay him. So I think they'll reap the rewards with Scotty.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think he was still good enough to play in the SPL.
Yeah, I agree.
Goes there, but he wants to play regular football. So he does the business there, takes him up. Money well spent.
Having spoken to him in the summer, he was really leaning towards going back to Australia.
Yeah.
But then he just said, if something comes up that entices me, I'll think about it. And Dundee United clearly was an option. I think after this year, I think he might head home.
Yeah, and with a substantial career behind him, because Forget some of the great goals he scored, you know, and scored a corker against AC Milan. And so he was a Champions League player at one time.
Yeah.
I think it'll be crucial. You're absolutely right. I think it'll be crucial if they get promoted this year, which I think they will. It'll be crucial to see whether he says to them, am I going to be in your team for the Premier League, or are you going to be bringing in players? And that would be the crucial element as to whether he stays. If they're going to play him in the Premier League and he's still a key element, I think he will stay another year.
I'll tell you what annoys me, by the way, Jerry. You've scored 2 goals, you're thinking about your hat-trick, and then the manager says, come on off, Adam Rooney's coming on, Stevie May substituted. I'd be raging. I want a hat-trick.
I also think that is to let the crowd show their appreciation for him.
Is that right? You're happy with that?
I think that's
again, he's not a guy that's played a lot of football either.
No.
Yeah.
You know, so they're probably saying, nah, just that's enough. That's enough.
Stevie May's walking off thinking, I'm raging, I want a hat-trick.
I never got that close.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's got a hat-trick bonus.
I was just thinking, due to the fact
behind the madness.
Due to the fact you and I play 5-a-sides from time to time with Ali McCoy, can you imagine saying to him, come off, you've scored 2, you know.
Go in goals for 10 minutes.
Exactly. So Stevie May with a great day for him, but I think I think we're all in agreement here, apart from the 0-0 at Ibrox at the moment. The scoreline of the day is at Easter Road. It's Hibs 0, Hamilton Accies 2.
It doesn't matter what happens at Ibrox, because if Rangers go 1-0 up, people say that's not a surprise. If Hearts go 1-0 up, people's not going to say that's a shock.
I know.
But that's a shock.
That is a shock. And 10-man Falkirk got a goal. Back in Peter's 2-1.
I've told them all I told them all it was all over as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're not listening.
Tom Taiwo is not listening to you. He scored. Whether that's enough or not, I don't think it's enough to save them from a rollicking, I have to be honest with you. But it's 2-1, and it's Stranraer 3, Ayr United 4. 7 goals in that game. Fantastic. And Alloa 1, Queen's Park 0. Is the scoreline, and ever since Gus McPherson has come on this programme, we've been a jinx for him.
The last one to go, is it? The last one to go for a pint with Gus tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. That's another good point, actually. Alloa's goal in that match against Queen's Park was scored by Adam Martin. So we're heading into the last couple of minutes at Ibrox. It's been a tale of domination of possession for Rangers, but they have been able to break down that Hearts defence. There's still time. It could be a late one. And I can tell you, the defensive display from Hearts has been absolutely sensational. Berra has been outstanding in that match. So no surprise that at the end of this game, I think some people, just bearing in mind what you said at the start of the programme, Gordon, might be looking and thinking, John Daly's got something.
Yeah, I think it might be different if he won the game. I think it would have been a real tough decision. The draw might still give him, I think, a good position within, of the candidates are looking at, because I say he had the big advantage, Peter, in the respect that he's been able to take the team. He's a man that can actually turn things around in his favour by showing I can get something from these players. None of the other candidates can do that. They've got to be in the background, but they're going basically on their experience of other candidates, where they've been, the level they've been in the game, whereas John Daly has never coached at this level before. But I suppose if he goes to Ibrox and gets a draw, it'll look considerably, I would say, favourable, but not completely as a win would have been.
Yeah, Boyle scored that fourth goal for Ayr, and I can tell you that they almost got a fifth there. A great shot by Craig Moore, but it's just been saved, and Ayr will be happy they're still in the lead 4-3 at the moment against Stranraer. Bournemouth 0, Watford 2. Elsewhere, Hal Robson-Kanu, you remember, scored for West Bromwich Albion at Burnley, and after Burnley winning against Chelsea, they're a goal behind, but Hal Robson-Kanu's been sent off. So just when you get the high of scoring a goal, you get the low of the red card. The Watford goal is that's been scored by Capoue. So the goal's flying in towards the end, but is there a winner in the match at Ibrox? Wraith Rovers 2, Forfar 1. Liam Buchanan has scored, and Hamilton have scored again. It's 3-0. Can you believe it? Bingham has scored. Rakesh Bingham has just put the ball in the back of the net. That's his second. Hibs 0, Hamilton 3. And I can tell you right now, I'm giving you the all clear to do this. We've changed our mind. We are U-turning. If you head to the Fringe now and just go in early and take your seat at the show you bought tickets for, Hibs fans heading out in their droves. They're not happy, Jerry.
Oh, you can... Well, I don't know, as you said earlier, Lenny will be fuming.
No.
Fuming. I think, as you says, their training must have been great all week. On a high, coming away from Ibrox, winning that, getting in here, knowing that Hamilton are tipped to be the strugglers this year, and their aspirations have been the top 4, top 3, and getting not just a 1-0. I mean, 3 goals, 3-0 down.
A comfortable win.
A comfortable win, you know. So maybe it happening this time of the season. He's giving Lenny food for thought now.
Yeah, there is definitely a scoreline that's going to just to send a ripple across maybe some people who've been like myself.
A goal for Falkett. I think they got back to 2 each. Peter.
Wow, what about
10 men as well?
I think we may be able to chat to Peter Houston after all. He's got the goal. It's 2-2 in that match. I also have to tell you that. I wonder what the managers will be like afterwards, and we'll hear from Pedro Caixinha and interim boss John Daly at the end of the match if indeed Hearts are able to hold on. He certainly put himself in the frame for the job, but Pedro Caixinha will not be happy because they'll have slipped further behind Celtic, Gordon Smith.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, if it's only a draw as well, as say that puts them on to 4 points from 3 games. It's not the best of dropping quite a bit behind Celtic and other teams too. So it'll take away a bit from the actual Hibs scoreline. Actually goes against Pedro Caixinha as well when you look at it now, because people will say he lost to a Hibs team that then end up getting beat 3-0 from Hamilton at home. Do you know what I mean? So that's going to go against them. But as I say, depends on the performance. If the fans are happy with the performance and they feel they're a bit unlucky, it's not going to be totally negative. But he has to start putting results together.
Absolutely. I'm still trying and waiting to see if that Falkirk equaliser has been confirmed. I'll get back to you on that. Still 2-1 from at the moment. There might be just a quick update. We're waiting on a reporter on that. Wraith 3, Forfar 1 is the scoreline from Stars Park. Greg Spence scoring the goal there, and it looks as if Wraith have got all 3 points in that match. We're fast approaching the end in the Premiership. The full-time whistle will be going very, very shortly, and I can tell you 4 additional minutes to be added on at Ibrox. Is there a winner in this match? The Rangers fans are just shouting, hollering. They trying to just urge their side on.
Yeah, and I think the sort of Rangers situation is that you would expect him to go right to the end. They've done very well at Ibrox under Warburton and under Caixinha at winning games late, because they've got that big support behind them, because a team that's been defensively on the ropes for an hour and a bit. The defensive shape can go, a bit of concentration can go, so it's not a forlorn hope, but I think it's I think a goalless draw is not quite calamitous for Rangers, but it's really damaging. I mean, for example, it'll put them behind Hamilton in the league. Yeah,
I think it gives other teams hope. Well, we're going to Ibrox, and they know they're going to be capable of getting a result. And you're saying the lads that have left Rangers, they've all scored in the day. That fans look at things like that and say, why do we let him go? Why do we do that? Yeah, especially, after all depends. They might have had a lot of pressure. I don't know how many chances they've had in the game. But you're right. A 0-0 draw, a defeat last week. Doesn't augur well for them now.
I'm just looking there, Jerry. It looks as if it's it could be full time at Fir Park as well. It's finished. This match between Motherwell and Ross County. Let's get a full-time report from Andrew McLean.
Motherwell 2, Ross County 0, the full-time score from Fir Park. It was a real scrappy affair with 2 stubborn defences not allowing many shots on target in the first half. And even though Ross County had the better of the play in the opening 45, they were unable to find a way past Russell Griffiths in the Motherwell goal. Into the second half, a change of personnel and system at half-time sparked a change of fortune for Motherwell. They matched up with the away side and switched to a 3 at the back, with Carden and Tate operating as wing-backs, and it was the latter who put the home side in front. Gail Bagiramana crossing the ball in from the right. Andrew Davis took a complete fresh air swipe at it, which meant it fell to the feet of Richard Tate, who stroked home at the back post. With 15 minutes to go, Louis Moult was set through one-on-one with the keeper, but he was taken out from behind by Kenny van der Veeg. Dutchman was given a straight red card and Holt himself stepped up to calmly pass the penalty into the net, low to the keeper's left. Full time from Fir Park, Motherwell 2, Ross County 0.
Thanks to Andrew McLean. You'll be getting the thoughts of both managers very shortly. Dunfermline 3-1 up on Falkirk now. All 3 points to Alan Johnson's side there. Falkirk, of course, with a couple of red cards, but Lee Miller sent off for an elbow, which really put the Bairns right behind the 8 ball, couldn't recover. And Hibs have pulled one back. There's still time. People are running back into the ground. But it looks as if it's still going to be a day that Hamilton will not be denied the headlines. They've got all 3 points there, I think, with great certainty at Easter Road. And that's the result of the day, Hugh MacDonald.
Anthony Stokes the scorer, but I mean it doesn't make any difference. I mean that'll not even the volcano that is Neil Lennon will not be. That it's finished at Hibs apparently, and those players will be taking about 3 hours to reach the dressing room.
Yeah.
They'll be going to the assembly rooms before they head to the into the dressing room. Because Neil Lennon will be absolutely apocalyptic at that.
Yeah, Liverpool have managed to get a win at home against Crystal Palace, a solitary goal. The difference there, and that will certainly be pleasing for Jurgen Klopp. Do you think they're going to be in the mix at the end of the season? You can give us your view on that at Peter and Ruffy on Twitter and Facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy. We're still waiting for the full time at Ibrox, and it is full time now. Let's quickly go to Des McKeown, see if we can get a report there.
Full time at Ibrox and it's finished. Rangers 0, Hearts 0. Rangers were territorially dominant, lion's share of possession. They had the majority of the goal-mouth chances, but they take only 1 point from the 3 on offer this afternoon because Hearts were well organised and brilliantly marshalled by defender and captain Christophe Berra. Rangers started the game brightly and had chances in the first half through Windass, who fed a great ball in from the wide area. Different class from John Souttar to block his shot. Again, Kenny Miller, ball fed to him from Lee Wallace, took a touch, brilliant volley down into the ground, but Jack Hamilton managed to clear it with his feet, and then Wallace put in another cross, and it was coming in at the back post. Morelos very close to opening the scoring in the first half for Rangers, and Alves as well, Bruno Alves from a corner back across the goals but cleared off the line. Only chance for Hearts in the first half was when John Souttar strode forward from central defence 40 yards out, crashed a shot off the underside of the bar, cleared from safety. And the second half, very little goal-mouth action. Rangers pressed and pressed but couldn't penetrate, and I suppose that's the headline from today. Rangers all the possession, some of the chances, but only 1 point. Hearts were terrifically organised, and as I said, Christophe Berra and John Souttar, absolute standouts in the central defensive partnership. It's finished at Ibrox, Rangers 0, Hearts 0.
OK, we'll get the reaction from both managers and maybe a couple of players from Des McKeown a little later on in the programme. And I have to tell you that if you're looking for teams in the Premiership with a 100% record, the Aberdeen fans will be celebrating. They got the win today, St Johnstone as well, and Celtic. Coming up after the break, we will give you all the full-time scores across all 4 divisions in Scotland, and we'll talk about the key points and goals in the Premier League in England. Jerry McCabe, Gordon Smith and Hugh MacDonald will be back with me right after this break. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Saturday Football Show, full-time across the country, and quite a few shocks. I think the day belongs to Hamilton Accies at Easter Road. They have defeated Hibernian by 3-1. Let's have a look at what's been happening in the Premiership with just confirmation of the full-time scores. The early kick-off today finished Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 2. Aberdeen 2, Dundee 1, Hibernian 1, Hamilton Academicals 3, Motherwell 2, Ross County 0, Rangers 0, Hearts 0, St Johnstone 1, Partick Thistle 0. In the Championship in Scotland, Dundee United 1, Brecon City 0, Dunfermline 3, Falkirk 1, Inverness Cally Thistle 1, Morton 1, Livingston 1, St Mirren 3, Queen of the South 1, Dumbarton 0. League 1, Albion Rovers 1, Airdrieonians 2, Alloa 1, Queen's Park 0, Arbroath 2, East Fife 3, Wraith Rovers 3, Forfar Athletic 1, Stranraer 3, Ayr United 4. League 2, Berwick Rangers 1, Annan Athletic 5, Elgin City 3, Clyde 2, Montrose 1, Cowdenbeath 0, Stenhousemuir 3, Peterhead 1, Stirling Albion 2, Edinburgh City 0. In the Premier League in England, Swansea City 0, Manchester United 4, Bournemouth 0, Watford 2, Burnley 0, West Brom 1, Leicester City 2, Brighton and Hove Albion 0, Liverpool 1, Crystal Palace 0, Southampton 3, West Ham United 2. Stoke City against Arsenal is the 5:30 kick-off. That's how it looks in the Premier League in England. As far as the Premiership in Scotland is concerned, it's a big win for Hamilton Accies, but it's a draw for Rangers at Ibrox. You can give us your view on that at Peter and Ruffy on Twitter, facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy. Is it a blow? Is it a blow that will make Rangers fans even more upset that they've fallen 5 points behind Aberdeen, St Johnstone and Celtic?
I think they'll be a bit annoyed about it, yeah. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But the fact is that, they'll probably think, well, it wasn't a defeat. If they dominated the game, as Des said, they'll be happy to a degree with the performance, but they'll still be a bit annoyed about the result, because that is crucial that they're now sitting with 4 points after 3 games, and there's 3. I think they're sitting in 6th place in the league as well. Although it's early days yet, you can't judge too much on that. But he has to get his team going. He's getting 3 games coming up now. Before they play Celtic, he's got to pick up points in these 3 games coming forward. Probably the Rangers fans will be looking for 3 victories.
Yep, it's of course a big 2 or 3 weeks ahead for Rangers, with of course the Old Firm game looming ever closer. Give us your reaction to your team, the performance of individual players, and we will read out some of your messages on Twitter and Facebook, as well across all social media networks. We'll also hear from Pedro Caixinha and of course probably a happy interim boss John Daly. Join us after the break if you can. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Saturday Football Show. Sometimes it's the way you word a question, Hugh, that can make people irate on social media. You know, when you maybe post something that says what went wrong for the Hibs at Easter Road, and Aki's fans say, why is it about what went wrong? What about what went right for Aki's?
Yeah, well, it's certainly two sides to the same question. I mean, I think most Scottish football fans they've been looking at that game today and saying, well, Hibs are going to consolidate on a fine performance at Ibrox, and I think the bookies would suggest that Hibs would have been long odds on for that. But give Aki's credit. I mean, the team that everybody, or not everybody, just about everybody says is going to finish 12th. I've got another 3 points in the bag, and good on them. And apparently, according to people at the game, played really well in the second half.
Yeah, that's a tremendous performance. It must have been a good, result for performance as well as the result, because you don't go away, as I say, to a team who are strong, a lot of Premier League players. Neil Lennon, without doubt, has strengthened Hibs, and go there and win and be up 3-0. I mean, they lost a late goal, obviously, a consolation goal from Hibs' point of view, but you don't go there without putting in a really good performance. There's no doubt about that, tactically, and also the effort the players must have put in as well.
Yeah, as far as the other results, I mean, there are two other teams, as well as Celtic, from the afternoon kickoffs, who've got a 100% record. I think we've got to mention Aberdeen yet again, Gordon, because last week we're talking about their ability now just to grind out results. Did it against Ross County, and now against Dundee.
That's it. They haven't been winning comfortably so far. You're absolutely right. It is grinding out results, but that's also a measure of a good team that can do that. Maybe it's not playing at the best, whatever, but they now have players that can turn a game. I mean, they lost good players in Hayes and McGinn, without doubt, but Stephen May could turn out to be a really good signing too, and he's proved his point today by getting the winner, getting the 2 goals, including the winner. Yep,
and that's what you bring in. You bring in a centre forward to do just that. He comes in, 2 goals, bang. Brilliant recruitment. We always worried a wee bit about, would he take time to get back and up running, because he's had his injuries. He might not be match fit, but my goodness, that's a fantastic debut.
And just briefly, Jerry, St Johnstone 1-0 against Partick.
Started again. St Johnstone, very difficult place to go to. Actually tipped a score draw, I think, that one. So, but again, everybody knows what St Johnstone's all about. They've been out there, still got the quality about them. They work so hard for one another, and even when they're not playing well, they dig out results. They went up to Ross County last year and won a couple of times, and that's the kind of team they are. But Archie will be disappointed, because he's last week against Celtic, chance of wee penalty at the end of it. Going there today, you'd have thought maybe they got something out of it. But fair play to St Johnstone, they've done it again.
Yep, they have indeed, and I would give you a bit of advice, Jerry. Don't beat yourself up about getting predictions wrong. It's a natural thing that happens on this programme every day of the week. Hamilton Accies fans, I think it's a day to wallow in it, to be perfectly honest with you. Enjoy the moment, enjoy the victory. You had one against Dundee, good scalp against Hibernian as well, and you can tweet us and give us some of your thoughts on Facebook as well. More chat and interviews coming up. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Saturday Football Show. Gordon Smith, Jerry McCabe and Hugh MacDonald are with me here in the studio, reflecting on some of the results from the top flight in Scotland and the Championship, League 1 and League 2. We'll also bring you the outline of the scores from the lower divisions in England before we leave, and also we'll delve into some of the, well, if there are shocks in the Premier League, we'll discuss them as well, and the implications over the course of the season. Now, as far as the Premiership is concerned, it was Motherwell who managed to get a win today against Ross County. Let's hear what Jim McIntyre has to say about that defeat.
Yeah, obviously it's very uncharacteristic of Andrew to make a mistake like that. You know, he's solid, he's been a fantastic player, and he'll go on being a fantastic player for us, but obviously it's a key mistake. You've got to credit Motherwell. They pounce on it and put the ball in the back of the net, and you know, I've spoken numerous occasions about how important the first goal is at this level. You know, and you can see what that done for Motherwell. Motherwell made the system change in the second half and more or less went man for man. They started the second half brighter than us, but without really cutting us open. And obviously we've got a glaring opportunity to get back into the game and go 1-1 with Alex Schalk. And again, we don't hit the target. So,
well, fairly reflective on it. Not too disappointed. Wants to win the game. Didn't quite go according to plan.
Oh, well, it didn't, obviously, because I mean they're going down there believing they can get something from the game. As he said, the first goal was crucial to them, but you know, it's a good result from Motherwell's point of view to start off. I mean, they had they started the season pretty well, but then they dipped a little bit. They lost to the first game to Rangers, and they're sitting there on lost last week too, sitting on no points going into this game today. So that's crucial for them. They've got the 3 points, but there was 4 teams before today on no points, and now there's 3 where Motherwell, you know, have moved up, and that'll be a big boost to them to get off to a start just to get some points. But I say Ross County will be a bit disappointed because they're sitting now. They had 3 points already, but they'll be a bit annoyed because I'm sure they felt they could go to Motherwell and get a result. Yeah,
Jerry, you're better placed than most to comment on the nature of being 7th, 6th, and you know it can drop dramatically quickly.
Oh yeah, it's if Motherwell would have lost today, they go 6 points behind Ross County. Go 6 points behind Hamilton. That's how we're saying it's so vital you get points on the board.
I think we can actually just go Stephen Robinson and hear from the Motherwell boss after that win today.
I have to say Ross County played very well first half, coupled together with us. Probably that's the poorest performance of a half since I came to the football club. You know, I thought some of our players thought we could just play total football and not have to win the battle and outstrength them and outfight them, and we can't do that. Second half we made changes obviously and changed our mentality of how we win the game, and I thought we outstrengthed them, outfought them, and then eventually outplayed them obviously with the 10 men helped that as well. But they showed great character to come second half and put in a performance like that. Slightly animated, yeah. I'm passionate, and I didn't see as much passion as I wanted out there. I think we've won 6 out of 8 games now, and we've won them by outfighting and out scrapping people, doing the free stuff I call it in football. You know, running further than people, out jumping people, and then playing, and then you know getting people on the ball and playing. And we didn't do that today. And you know, and again, not taking any away from Ross County, they played extremely well. So yeah, I let them know what we thought. You know, and the thing was we got in at half time at 0-0, which we probably didn't deserve to do. And then we put in a very, very good performance second half.
Changes with difference.
Yeah, they did. You know, sometimes they,
well.
sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. You know, but I thought we were getting overrun in midfield without Carl McHugh in there. I thought we lacked a physical presence. And young Alan Campbell came on; he was terrific, absolutely terrific. Won every ball, came out with tackles, and you know he's a terrific young footballer. And Ram Bowman up front. You know, once we changed the shape as well, and we put Ram Bowman alongside Louis Moulton, I thought that caused them all sorts of problems. So delighted with the 2 boys that came on.
Well, there you are. There is a happy Stephen Robinson. I think the other point there that he was emphasising, Hugh, is they're scrapping 6 wins out of 8.
Yeah, that's a big result for them. You know, big result. Early in the season, you don't want to be stranded in the bottom there. You know, winless and having to and looking across at other people's other results from other teams getting 3 points, you can see the relief in him. I mean, there's no surprise he goes in at half-time raging, because it's nothing each. His team's getting outplayed. He's looking at a really chronically bad result, and you can see he was animated there. Adrenaline was flowing there because he's just come off. He's got his 3 points and he can move on now.
Yeah, as far as some of the other scorelines that are worthy of mention, we will be hearing from Pedro Caixinha before the end of the programme and get his thoughts on a 0-0 draw for Rangers against Hearts today. How strong a position, Gordon Smith, do you think John Daly's in now?
I don't think it's as strong as it would have been if he had got the result, the victory. I mean, I think if he got the victory today, I think it would have allowed them, if he is really the main candidate still, it would have allowed the club to turn around and say, this man has shown in a short space of time what he's got. I think a draw might not do that. I think that because the fans will, I think that there was always a fan desire for an experienced manager to come in now. That's what they were wanting, but the Hearts model has been to bring people through, and John Daly would have fitted in that very well with that if he got the result today, the win. I say, even the fact was that according to Des, Rangers outplayed Hearts too, so that's not going to go in his favour. Even if he got the result but got outplayed, it might be different. So I think his chances have diminished a little bit by that scoreline today.
An interesting thought from you, Jerry. Football's got to be the only industry and business where suddenly somebody is thrust into a big job with no experience, and they might have qualifications in coaching, but you can get it on the evidence of 1 or 2 games. I agree with Gordon to the extent that I don't think he was ever in the running. I mean, and if he is, then I think somewhere on the board they're quite willing to take gambles, because that's what it would be. I
think it is a gamble with whoever you bring in. Even big names have come in and not done it. The thing about, say, John's got in his favour, he's worked with his players for the last 2 or 3 weeks on the training ground. I think upstairs will be looking what kind of response that the players have given John. And obviously that's going to Ibrox and getting a point. Beating Kilmarnock last week, obviously, beating the first game against Celtic. So I think they'll be taking all these, considerations to make whether John is not just a good coach, but can he handle it, the pressure of being in there in a manager seat. It's different being an assistant manager or coach from a manager's job. You've got to have this, everything about you, the way you handle players. And right now he's getting the response, so I don't think anybody can argue.
Yeah, I think a 0-0 is good, Hugh.
No, I know it's smashing result. For him, they'll take that all day. I mean, that's what he set up for at Celtic Park. And of course, we're completely outplayed in the second half. Interesting thing about John Daly is that the business model that they've put in is have the director of football, have a younger guy come through, worked with Robbie Nielsen, doesn't work with Cathro. Do they pause now and go, do you know what? Maybe it's a time to steady the ship, get somebody with a bit of experience in. I think what people forget about Hearts is the influence of the fans. The fans are not just roaring from the sidelines. The fans are on the board. The fans are part of the... Well, they want to say, do you know what? In their representations to Anne Budgett and Craig Levein, they saying, see, this time we want somebody we can kind of hang our hat on. We all know that is no guarantee that would work anyway, but it gives you maybe a wee bit more. I think they'll go for somebody fairly experienced. I don't think John Daly will get the job.
I think after the Cathro debate, I think that's maybe they look at him. We can't get the next one wrong, because they get the next one wrong and say, well, you had an opportunity, you get rid of Ian Cathro, there was your opportunity to bring in someone. Well, as I say, John's threw his hat in the ring. So,
but what do you guys think? What do you think? If he'd won today, what do you think the scenario would have been?
I think you're right. I think he's in a better position. I think he's went to Ibrox, he's won, he's got the result. He's got won 2 games out of 83.
But isn't football a crazy game? See that Suter thing hits the bar and drops over the line?
Yes, that's the difference. I know. That's right. I know. You're right.
It's all down to them up the stairs.
I just think the pressure would have been on them. Especially if it was already in their mindset to think, hopefully he does well. We'll put him in charge and see how he does, and then they think he's doing well. I just think if they've got a win today, it would have been hard for them not to turn around and say, you're the man.
See, did they get a win today? Then they decided still to bring in someone, you know, a more experienced player. How would John Daly feel?
Oh, exactly, I know.
John Daly, have you lost John Daly as a coach in
He
there?
probably would have felt that way a wee bit, like, you know, you've ignored me and I've passed my audition, really.
Yeah, so to speak, yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what Pedro Caixinha will say about this one, because if anything, sometimes I think, you know, eventually, Rangers fans will look at today's performance, Gordon. They've had the domination. You can have domination in games and the fans are not happy with the way it's being played. I mean, you only have to look back at Celtic fans with Ronnie Dyler.
Yeah.
Celtic dominated games, but they didn't like the way they were playing.
I know.
I'm curious to see
what he'll say
and the aftermath in the Rangers fans' minds about this, because the next 3 games should be winnable.
Yes.
You know, we were all talking about how enormous this game was for him. Well, he didn't pass the test today at home.
Yeah.
And everybody's looking towards September. That game against Celtic,
absolutely,
you know, it's the determination on going into it with confidence, how many points they are behind.
Yes, I know that the next 3 away games before they play Celtic, 3 games before they play Celtic, 2 are away, 1 at home. The 1 at home is against Dundee, the way to Ross County and Partick. Now, he'll need to get results in the I believe he will say, though, today, I bet he comes out with a very positive talk, saying we played really well today. The only thing that was missing was a winning goal, a good performance after last week. We're back and we're on I bet it's very positive. He'll talk as if they did everything except score a winning goal.
And what fans will be looking at is, you know, we'll be saying, listen, you've come up goalless against Hearts at home when 2 of the guys that you get rid of are scoring goals in the Championship and another guy can't stop scoring at St Johnstone. I mean, this is the things that come back to rebound on managers. This will be used.
Well, 3 got rid of us.
Barry's a 3, Barry Mackay as well.
Mackay's going today
so
too.
you go and you say, people, every decision in management when you're not doing well comes back to bite you. I really think he's in again, the only thing I honestly think, the only reason he's still here at the moment is that he spent so much money in the close season.
Yeah, I don't think they can afford, I'll be blunt with you, I don't think they can afford to get rid of a manager right now. I think that's what's buying him time. I still think, as I look at the Premiership and the scores, I think the manager that they should have approached is wearing Aberdeen's tracksuit, because you know he has posted a win today. They had to grind it out against the Dundee side, and then you know somebody else will say, well, wait a minute, what about St Johnstone? There's Tommy Wright, just confounding everybody. Gordon, now would you probably would have had to have spent a bit of money to get Derek McInnes out of Aberdeen, but Tommy Wright from St Johnstone?
Yeah, oh no, he would have been automatically moved on. I know, I agree with you totally. And his name had come up. Everyone was saying he's got to be considered, and it was quite a surprise to everyone that he wasn't. But as I say, if you look at St Johnstone's position over the last few seasons, it's Premier League top 6 each time. And once again, we use the terminology for the resources that he's available to him. He's done a great job for them. Yeah, I agree with you totally.
I think he's done a great job at St Johnstone, but I think some people maybe look within Ibrox, is Tommy Wright big enough for Rangers for where they want to go? I mean, if it was me, I would say Tommy Wright would be a candidate along with Derek McInnes, certainly.
Yeah. Well, with all due respect, Jerry, Pedro Caixinha's CV didn't exactly rock the rest of Europe.
I agree with you. Why? I mean, why they went over? Maybe I don't know. I've not really went into his background, but they brought him over, and they brought him. He's no knowledge of the Scottish game.
No.
He's come in here. He's went in now, and he's spent his own money. So this is his team now. So really, the pressure's on him. And the bold statements he's coming out with, I've got the best squad in the league and all that. I mean, the pressure's right on the players to back that up. Right. As I say, Derek McInnes, not only would he be in the safe bet, you know, Derek McInnes is, you know, an experienced manager. He knows the Scottish League, a right good manager, and he wants to go to the next level again. He wants to be prove himself. He's had a spell down in England, and I think Derek would want to get back down to England under the right circumstances. But I think Rangers have missed a trick there by no bringing in Derek McInnes.
Yeah, I mean, you look at you look at the signings, and that if you're buying Cardozo's and Morales, they may end up getting fantastic players. But there's a real element of risk. Derek McInnes has gone out and recruited guys that he knows. I mean, he gets a centre forward today, and he gets 2 goals. He's getting Greg Stewart, and he'll be fine. Ryan Christie's going to be more than fine.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going through that team saying, and even if it all collapsed at Aberdeen, they sacked Derek McInnes for something, you'd say, well, we've still got our money back, Steve May. Send Ryan Christie back to Celtic. You know, Greg Stewart's on them. I mean, everything's then manageable. Can you imagine now, if Rangers go next week, and it's all ifs and buts, go up to Ross County and lose, you're not only looking at a manager you've got to get it, you're going to say, God, I mean, what should we paying Alves every week? I mean,
you're talking about Alves. There's a guy who must be on a hefty wage called Pena. Nobody's seen him.
No.
Nobody's heard from him.
No.
If you had signed someone for the money that Rangers have apparently paid for this guy and the weekly wage that he'd be taking out, you'd be saying, where's his contribution? Not even fit 7 weeks. 7 weeks, Gordon.
I know, that's exactly right. I mean, that you're expecting somebody to turn up and be in good condition anyway for the start of the season. Never mind after 7 weeks, you've got somebody like that you paid money for and he's not even getting a chance, he's not even been put in the team. Yeah,
I think, I mean, to me, you know me, I've been talking about it since the beginning of the season. And people say I've been too harsh and things like that, but there's nothing harsh about it. The bottom line is, if you're manager of Rangers, you've got to win games. That's it. There's no... We can talk about it till we're literally blue in the face, but that is the thing. And you can't sit and say, my remit with my own players that I brought in was to close the gap in Celtic. And after 3 games, you're 5 points behind Celtic, Aberdeen and St Johnstone. And
let's not forget that quite a number of people will say it seems such a long time ago, but earlier on today, a much changed Celtic side go down to Rugby Park and win.
Yeah, well, that's the difference. I mean, that's what Rangers are trying to put together their best team in order to get a victory. And if it won so far against Motherwell, which could have gone the other way too that day, it could have really been the chances of Motherwell had good saves bothering them at the end of the game. And then Celtic are changing their team about and playing Champions League matches at the highest level, but changing their team for other competitions because they also in the League Cup played a lot of players that never generally played, a wee bit like they did today, playing teenagers and still game after game getting results. The golf between the two sides at the moment is pretty big. Yeah.
Well, here's a question for you then. Is it big and suggesting to you that they can't close the gap on them, 30-odd points that they were behind Celtic? Does it suggest to you that there are signs that they can't do that?
No, the signs to me are still, as I spoke about earlier, Peter, I don't know where this Rangers team are going yet. I don't know if he's going to turn them around and get them going and then they will close the gap, or they aren't any better than what we've seen so far. That's for me, it's still an open question because I think he does need games. I said before, my first judgment on him will be after the first quarter of the league. When he's played every day once, then that'll be, for me, a focal point on saying, this is where they are now. Pretend they played every day twice. That's, for me, that is a case of you're in a job or you're out of a job, to be honest with you, because then it's a case of seeing whether he can turn around and he begins to get the results. As that happens with the money spent, the players he's got, is he a good coach? These will be the questions that will be answered as the season goes on.
Well, it's funny you saying that because even at the start of the season, I had October in mind.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Celtic match. I mean, it's got to stage now. You thought I'm 62, and I thought I'd never say this sentence. Celtic are almost an irrelevance to Rangers at the moment. They really are. What the Rangers are going to have to be looking at is the Aberdeens and the St Johnstones and the Hibs.
Yeah.
I mean, you can just about sell to Rangers fans at the moment, finishing second in the league. Yeah. You can just about. I don't think you can sell as much as the modern media think you can. But I think you can just about get away with it. You can't go on and say, well, fourth or third again.
But there's a demand for second just now because of the money it's now spent. If he's any good, if he's the man to take Rangers forward, it has to be second and nothing else. That's more or less what even Dave King's been saying, isn't it?
Absolutely. And King said, and by the way, King was budgeting for a European run as well.
Yeah. Has Celtic finished 30 points ahead of everybody? I don't think anybody can complain. Celtic's so far ahead. That's it. But if Rangers are languishing 9-10 points behind Aberdeen, Hibs a few points behind Hibs and that, then you know they've got to look at it and say, wait a minute,
Yes.
you know, we've given you money to come in and strengthen. We know last year was we were so far behind, but you've had the opportunity to come in, have your own team, spend your own money, get as close to Celtic as you can, fair enough. But second, that's what they'll be saying, didn't they?
Absolutely.
They've already said, if they don't,
Absolutely right, Jenny, and we haven't seen enough yet from at all to say they're going to do that. That's why it's an open question as such. You can't turn around and say they're not going to, because we've seen things turn around, Peter, in the past. But at the moment, we don't see it.
It might change in the next few weeks. But right now, as Gordon says, the signs aren't good that they're going in the right direction.
Yeah, I think there's more chance of Aberdeen closing the gap in the points difference between themselves and Celtic. But the rather ominous thing, which I think you mentioned at the start of the programme as well, and I think another factor I've got to throw in there, this is a Celtic side that Patrick Roberts looks set to be confirmed as coming back on loan. Stuart Armstrong signed a 2-year deal. 2 other players reportedly coming in. They banked 26.4 million once they get past Astana in this second leg. Over and above that, if by some miracle of nature Virgil van Dijk goes for 60 million, they bank another 6 million from the sell-on clause from him.
Yeah, and then could sell Dembele for 20 odd and replace him with I don't know, a Danny Ings or whoever, you know, we could replace him. I mean, as I say, going back to it, Celtic actually, if I was sitting down doing the strategy for Rangers at the moment, I'd be putting Celtic out of my mind. I mean, that sounds, I mean, Rangers supporters are going crazy at that. But in the short term, you've got to say to us, listen, our short term goal is to be, we've got the second biggest budget in the league.
Yeah.
We should be the second best team in the league. It's as simple as that. And then we can maybe, you know, take a tilt at Celtic, maybe become competitive against Celtic in a one-off match to get a cup. You know, that can happen. We know that can happen. But this idea, I mean, I just think at the moment, and Gordon's made the point, you know, we don't know what Rangers are, and we don't. But the evidence is at the moment, we know they're not good enough to beat Hibs at home. We know they're not good enough to beat Hearts at home. We know they're not good enough to beat a Luxembourg team to go through to you know, the second round of a Europa League qualifier. Now that might all change, but that's on the debit sheet for him at the moment.
Yeah, definitely.
Celtic favourites obviously to win the league. Rangers are going to be judged in the league position in the SPL. Celtic are getting judged in Europe. That's the difference now. You know, Celtic are up against the big guns now. That's where Celtic will be looked at to, you know, try and make progress in the Champions League. And the financial gains that Celtic have got there, they're going to be streets ahead of everybody. They're going to be, you know, a different league, but in the same league. And as it is, that's where Rangers they'll have to progress in the league. Because
that's the big storm for all of Scottish football was. Not only has Celtic got this money, but they've got a manager, and they've got an elite manager. They've got a manager now that's made players that we were all thinking last summer, Peter, would be on the first bus out. You know, taxis for various players. There now, we're all sitting now and thinking, do you know what, McGregor could play EPL. Stuart Armstrong, we're now talking in reality about bids.
James Forrest, I thought hit a brick wall at one time.
James Forrest could do this. Dembele, we know. Simonovic, could he go and play at a high level? And then they just unveiled another one, Ralston the day. We saw enough of him over a couple of games to think he's good. Tierney is as near a certainty as you want to put
He's progressed a lot, and then the other factor is Roberts is about to come back too, which strengthens him even more in attacking sense.
Dundee, Partick Thistle and Kilmarnock, the only 3 sides without any points. Brendan Rodgers mentioned that he thinks Lee McCulloch is a top-class manager and won't have to worry despite the fact they don't have any points. We all know about Alan Archibald, and Neil McCann's just bedding in. It's already looking interesting at the bottom end of the Premier League.
Oh, it is. I mean, but there's nothing really. Even if you take it, even when you were considering Rangers for the top end, they're only 4 points ahead of these other teams, so it's very early days. But the one thing you don't want to be on is in a bad run. Kilmarnock, I thought Lee McCulloch would do a good job. I still think he will, but they're a little bit under pressure now because they've had 3 home games. Other teams have had at least one away, but Kelly have had 3 home. and at home again next week against, I think it's Hamilton Accies they've got next week at home. So that's a tough one for them, considering how Hamilton have done today. So Kelly, you know, a wee bit worried about my old team there. They've got to start picking up the points.
Yep, great credit to Motherwell. They got off the mark and got a win today. Stephen Robinson well pleased with the scrapping attitude of his team. Maybe not overall in the overall play, but a win is a win. We will be hearing from Pedro Caixinha and a delighted John Daly after getting a point for Hearts at Ibrox today. It finished Rangers 0, Hearts 0. As far as the Championship's concerned, Dundee United, delighted with Scott McDonald. He popped up with the only goal of the game against Brecon, that vital goal. And of course, in that division, it is a torrid division to try and get out of, Hugh McDonald.
Yeah, but I think Dundee United have got a few things going for them. I think their manager's excellent in that division. He knows that division very well. Ray McKinney did really well. Wraith Rovers there. He's also, I think he's recruited well for that division. I think Scott McDonald, Jerry mentioned it, is playing at a league below what he should be playing. So I think things are going from. But I think it'll be a tight division. I honestly do. I think St Mirren, I think that was a huge result for St Mirren today, particularly on the back. A thumping last week to get a man sent off at 1 each, then go on and win. Yeah. That's a great result for them. I expect Dundee United and St Mirren, and of course my wee dark horse is Dunfermline.
Yeah, I think we've got to pay tribute to Dunfermline if they are a dark horse. Certainly on the evidence of what they've done since the start of the season. Yeah, they're looking at a good bet to be right in there.
Totally, a very good start for them. I mean, they're going up there, but they're working away. And as I say, I think it's a difficult league to try and pick out because there's not much between a lot of them really. They're very, very close, and this year I even think, although Dundee United are probably the best team, I still don't think they're going to run away with it.
No, I agree with you. I think it'll be a tight league as well.
Yeah. Good stadium, Dunfermline playing. As I say, we won the league there with Jimmy Mack, and when you're doing well, the support come out. They get right behind you. Yeah. Says it's old-fashioned stand and things like that, but it's always a great pitch to play in. My worry this year is I think Inverness are going to struggle.
I think
for some reason.
right.
I mean, they've lost Draper, and, although they get money in from him, and Tansey, try to get players back up there. I think they could struggle.
Mackay didn't go back there.
Mackay didn't get back, you know, I know Robo was in there, and he'll obviously be trying, you know, to get them back in back into the SPL.
Something's happened, Jerry, at boardroom level, a conscious decision. It happened. I think you can draw a line in the sand and say that happened at John Hughes. And whatever they decided at that point, whether it was a financial decision or a strategy, it happened. And from there, when John Hughes decided, whoa, I've got to get out of here because somebody has said something that put the alarm bells off in my head, I'm out of here. And from there, it's just gone boom, 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 boom.
Well, they promoted Richie Foran within, and they've struggled. They struggled there. They're really poor last year. And you look at them, a couple of years ago, they won the Scottish Cup. Yep. And now, you're right, some big Yogi went. I don't know what went on with Yogi. But Inverness have always been a team you'd say, right, you know, they've come in here and great results in the big league. And they've been really a team. And it's always a difficult place to go to. But I just think now, looking at them, if they get the right direction, where are they going to go? They're under the shadow of Ross County as well now. I think they could struggle this year.
I think so as well, and the results show that. Poor start to the Championship. You start looking at the Championship after, well, a bit early to look after just a few games, but you're looking at teams, you know, who will be struggling at the bottom of that league. You've got to look possibly Brecon City. Right, they'd be most people's. Then you say, can Dumbarton have as good a season as they did last season? Maybe, because of, you know, I rate the manager there, so that might happen. But after that, you're saying, well, who else contests the bottom of that? I think Queen of the South under Gary Naismith, you've got to say, would be fine. You're looking at other teams as trying to push at the top of the league. Then you're suddenly saying to yourself, do you know what? Inverness Cali are probably more likely to be down the bottom than up the top, and that's what I think.
Yeah, Brecon, Falkirk and Inverness with only one solitary point. Coming up after the break, we're going to go back into the Premiership in Scotland. We'll get a reaction from Ibrox to a match that, well, the story of this game at Ibrox is Rangers dominated possession, had some chances, couldn't convert them. There was a crashing shot from John Suter, which came back off the bar, that could have given Hearts a lead in the game. Whether it was deserved or not, it certainly would have provided a big shock. And I think we'll also continue to talk about the shock of the day at Easter Road. What went right for Hamilton Accies, what went wrong for Hibernian. We'll get the thoughts of Jerry McCabe, Gordon Smith and Hugh MacDonald to that. Join us after the break, because we're going to be talking Rangers against Hearts. Nobody could get a goal on the day, and Rangers are now behind Aberdeen, St Johnstone and Celtic at the top. There's a 5-point gap between them. We'll discuss that, and we'll hear what the Rangers manager has to say. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Saturday Football Show. Gordon Smith, Jerry McCabe and Hugh MacDonald have been with me here in the studio on STV2. Every Saturday, 2 o'clock until 6, we're bringing you the best of the action from across all 4 divisions in Scotland. Reaction to the goals going into the back of the net, and of course our reporters out at key games, as well as the interviews with managers and players. The story of the day, Easter Road, where undoubtedly Hamilton are delighted with a win by 3-1 against Hibernian. As far as the disappointment of the day, it will undoubtedly be among the majority of fans inside Ibrox, where Rangers slipped up. They could only manage a 0-0 draw with Hearts. Here's what the Rangers manager Pedro Caixinha made of the game.
it's the second game in a row that we didn't win. I think that today we dominate the game from the beginning until the end. We create enough chances to score, but we could not score. So I need to be happy with the efforts that the players did, with the overall, the way we dominate the game and don't allow the opponent even to sink in attack. But we could not score, so I'm frustrated regarding to it and disappointed. But we know that we are growing as a team and we keep looking forward.
Is it a concern that you weren't able to take any chances that way?
No, it's not a concern. As I always used to say, it's a concern when you don't create chances. When you create chances the way you create today and dominating the game the way you dominated, so I'm not concerned. The only point that maybe I need to understand that we need to play with a little bit more tempo with the possession, so the ball moving quicker and being more aggressive to create space, to attack space, and the ball arriving on the lesser. So it's the only point that I maybe refer today, that we could not do it the way we need to do it and the way we are capable to do it. So we need to focus on that and keep working in that direction, because regarding to the last game, the ending position in attack was brilliant, so they could not get at one transition, they could not connect with the front players, they could not have any sort of transition, so regarding to that, allow us to dominate more the game.
Well, his keyword week in, week out at the moment, Gordon, seems to be transition.
Well, that's the word it is, isn't it? It is a transition to a degree, because he's a new manager, new players. But as I said, I forecast how he would take that. As I said, he'll come across positively. And you just going to say they dominated the game, and it was just the fact we couldn't score. That was the only difference. So really, it's a victory without getting the full 3 points. That they were the top team. That's the way he's saying that. That's it. He is like that most of the time. It's always very positive, isn't it?
Yeah, OK. From Pedro Caixinha, let's hear what the Hearts boss made of a 0-0.
Yeah, we're happy. We're happy. You know, we had our team set up to come and try and get 3 points. We put Jamie Walker back in the team, off of Ismael Goncalves and Kyle Lafferty on the left. So we felt with the team that we had, we could come and get 3 points. And obviously, the game hasn't panned out the way we would have liked it to pan out, but that's football, and I think the game plan slightly changes as the game goes on. And to come away with a point from Ibrox is a good point. Obviously, we're disappointed. I think you can see the disappointment in the players when we go into the changing room, that it's a point. It's only a point, but on the day, I don't think we've done enough to get 3 points. But at the same time, I don't think we deserve to come away with anything less than a point.
Jerry McCabe, if he's on the bus going back to Edinburgh with the players, I think they should give themselves a pat in the back. A point at Ibrox at any point is a good point.
Yeah, well, he says he went there to set up to try and win the game. But when you go to Ibrox or Parkhead, it doesn't matter. You come away with a point, you're happy with that. But he's saying that the players were sitting in the dressing room disappointed, but then he says he didn't feel they'd done enough to win the game. So if they didn't do enough to win the game, you would be happy with the point. You would take the point and go.
Yeah. Over the course of the last couple of minutes, you've listened to both managers. What do you make of the Rangers manager's response, Hugh?
It's what he's got to say. Listen, we know the way this game's played. You know, I've seen so many press conferences. But everyone's context, you can come out and say, if Brendan Rodgers went to Kilmarnock today at Rugby Park and Celtic missed those chances and it ended up nothing each, he can sit down and say, it was one of those days, we created a lot of chances, we missed them. And you know what? There would hardly be a fluttering about it. But everything is in context. This is a Rangers manager. It's not just been unlucky maybe today, maybe, you know, chances going and missing, but this is a Rangers manager with a recent history which is poor. And it's exacerbated by the fact, if you see we didn't take chances, everybody's going to course, will say, why not? Why not? I mean,
see if he's saying that 2 and 3 games down the line, saying, oh, we had a good performance today, but they haven't won the game. So you say to yourself, well, wait, can't keep coming on here and saying we had a good performance? But at the end of the day, if they don't win the games, they start to fall further behind. If other teams are picking up points and picking up maybe wins, and they're picking up the 1 point, you know, you soon find out there's a gap, a massive gap there. Then you're in a bit of trouble.
Well, you mentioned one point from 2 games.
Yeah, you mentioned Ross County, Dundee and Partick on the horizon.
Yeah, that's the next 3 games. That's before they play Celtic. So they're away to Ross County next week, which will not be an easy game, obviously, away from home there. And, you know, say they Dundee and then Partick will also be tricky games because they're the favourites to win those games and they're expected to win them. The fans will want to think that they're going to be picking up 9 points in the next 3 games. That'll be the big factor of the last 2 games. He has to come out and realise 1 point from 2 home games, albeit it might say it's Hibs and Hearts, but they are teams who Rangers should feel they're above. Their goal is to do better than Hibs and Hearts this season. But that's 2 home games, 1 point. So it's not good enough. And so he has to turn it around. As I say, we'll still to wait and see we can. If he says not scoring the goals, making the chances, that's good. If you're making the chances, that is at least a positive sign. But you need to start putting the ball in the net.
Yeah, the other part here on this is quite simply the difference between his look at it as a manager and the expectation from the fans. The fans' expectation, I think, far outstrips the ability of the team, Hugh.
Yeah, well, and the other thing is maybe the realisation. It's a very difficult realisation for people who go into Rangers or Celtic, is that it's just winning. You don't come off and say, oh, do you know what, we were unlucky today, you know, played really well, made a few chances, let's go out for dinner tonight and we can take... You drew nothing each. And now that might be unreasonable, it might be what you shouldn't do, but that is the game, that's the job. I mean, I was talking to Walter Smith recently about Rangers, and he used to say, 20 to 5 on Saturday, he used to stumble into the dressing room, and if they'd won, he didn't really care. I mean, that was for Monday morning, maybe looking at the tape and seeing who was. The whole thing was winning.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's go back over. Beg your pardon. The main full-time scores across all 4 divisions in Scotland. First of all, Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 2, Aberdeen 2, Dundee 1, Hibernian 1, Hamilton Accies 3, Motherwell 2, Ross County 0, Rangers 0, Hearts 0, St Johnstone 1, Partick Thistle 0. In the Championship, Dundee United 1, Brecon City 0, Dunfermline 3, Falkirk 1, Inverness Cally Thistle 1, Morton 1, Livingston 1, St Mirren 3, Queen of the South 1, Dumbarton 0. In League 1, Albion Rovers 1, Airdrieonians 2, Alloa 1, Queen's Park 0, Arbroath 2, East 5 3, Wraith Rovers 3, Forfar Athletic 1, Stranraer 3, Ayr United 4. Berwick Rangers 1, Annan Athletic 5, Elgin City 3, Clyde 2, Montrose 1, Cowdenbeath 0, Stenhousemuir 3, Peterhead 1, Stirling Albion 2, Edinburgh City 0. Into the Premier League in England, Swansea City 0, Manchester United 4, Bournemouth 0, Watford 2, Burnley 0, West Brom 1, Leicester City 2, Brighton 0, Liverpool 1, Crystal Palace 0, Southampton 3, West Ham United 2, and Stoke City 0, Arsenal 0 is the latest score. In the Championship in England, Burton Albion 2, Birmingham City 1, Sheffield United 1, Barnsley 0, Aston Villa 4, Norwich City 2, Bolton 1, Derby County 2, Bristol City 0, Millwall 0, Fulham 0, Sheffield Wednesday 1, Ipswich Town 2, Brentford 0, Nottingham Forest 2, Middlesbrough 1, Preston 1, Reading 0, Queen's Park Rangers 2, Hull City 1, Wolves 1, Cardiff City 2, and Sunderland 0, Leeds United 1 is the latest score. And as you can see, here's a quick look at what's been happening in the Sky Bet League 1 in England. And here are the results from the Sky Bet League 2. So there's the scores right across north and south here today. Saturday afternoon, it started with great promise. Your team may well have been able to fulfil that promise. Some let you down. You can give us your view at Peter and Ruffy on Twitter, facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy. We'll discuss it on Monday night's programme. But I think the weekend and certainly the result belongs to Hamilton Accies, Hugh.
Absolutely, and painter and decorators will be in at Easter Road because Lenny will have taken 2 coats off that dressing room, I'd have thought. I think it's a great result for Hamilton. I think I still stick by them for the logical reason, no personal animosity, the logical reason they've got the least resources, so they should finish bottom of the league. So that's a smashing performance today, one that I never saw coming. Really pleased for Stevie May today. Had a desperate time with injury. Comes back up, makes a move that's clever move. So far it's worked out for him, but I think the back pages tomorrow, Peter, be dominated by Rangers.
Yeah, Celtic, Aberdeen and St Johnstone still with a 100% record. Pedro Caixinha with quite a bit of thinking to do to keep Rangers on the coattails of the 3 or 4 aforementioned clubs. And at the bottom end, well, they're still looking for some points at the bottom to try and get them going. We'll discuss all of the teams on Monday night's Peter and Ruffy Football Show at 7:30. Good night.